Oh,
Party popper. Yay, 200.
Yeah, we're useless, aren't we, mate?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome, one and all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do let me know if you can see me and hear me okay. Make sure all the microphones and things are working. We know how I get on with microphones. Welcome, one and all. Welcome, one and all. I'm on the wrong side. Hang on.
I know, you've still not figured it out, have you? You're useless.
I'm the diva. I need to be on the left-hand side. I'm more important. Anyway, yes, welcome.
You're on down cam today, aren't you?
I know. Well, I need you to be able to see what I'm doing and having stupid... If I have it close enough there, pointing like to the side, then it's just in the way of my entire face, and it's a pain in the bum. So,
do you need me to change my camera angle so you can see what I'm up to then?
No. It's more because in all likelihood you'll probably be so pixelated I can't see anyway. But even though you aren't at the minute,
that's how I look anyway.
Well, that's true. But it's more fun to me to not see how you're doing and just then see a picture later on. So I'll show you.
Oh right, okay, I'll shut up then.
No. I'm just thinking it's more fun that way. But the chances are I won't be able to see if it goes pixely anyway. So I have to take it on faith that you're doing well, which I do.
Yeah, you'll get a photograph where it's about that big. It's in the distance. There is my Leman Russ.
In the distance, behind this pile of other stuff. Welcome.
But anyway, before you start, congratulations, mate, on your 200th show.
It's not your 200. It's not my 200. It's our 200th.
Yeah, but we've done 54 together. This is your 200th Warhammer Sunday. So
yeah, and I've aged massively, I have to say, in the last 4 years. Ooh, 4 years.
I know.
God, I was 32 when I started 4 years ago. I'm 50 now.
Like, he has aged.
I think I might be getting the grey hairs now. It's kind of cool.
Oh, brilliant. Well done, mate.
I'm not sure. I can't quite tell if they're just faded or... I don't know yet.
Faded, I like that. Anyway, I'm rambling.
Natural tips and highlights, you know what I mean? 1980s style.
Does this go with the hair extensions, or shouldn't I mention that?
Welcome, one and all, to this, the 200th Warhammer Sunday. As Festa said there, 200 shows have been done. 54, give or take one or two, with me and Colin. So me and Colin have been doing this for just over a year and a bit. Yeah, it's not been every single week, so... welcome to the 200th show. A big thank you to all of you who have been regular viewers. I don't know why, but you do, so we love you dearly for doing it. But welcome. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what this show is, if you've never seen it before for any reason, if the lure of a giveaway has tempted you to come and watch the show for the first time, which funnily enough it does happen. It's funny that.
It does.
It's amazing.
Surprising that, isn't it?
Here's something for free. Thousands of viewers. Excellent. Yes, if you've not seen one of these before, basically, Colin and I will sit here and do some buildy, painty, and we'll talk about more in detail in a second. But before I do, let me just get all the shout-outs to all the important supporters out of the way. First and foremost, my channel, this programme, this stream, my channel, my face, all my trousers, and this thing of water is sponsored by emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop. I've got to get used to a camera being in another new place now, haven't I?
I know, you're useless, aren't you?
Your one-stop shop, I was pointing on the other side, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs, all of them, every single one. If you have a need and you go to eModels to say, your need is fulfilled, here, now give us lots of money.
eModels in that corner there.
Yes, eModels. They have pioneered and mastered the art of exchanging items and goods for money. It's amazing. So do go to their web store. If you're local in Stoke, you can pop in, although I don't know about today, but you can pop in. There is a counter. It's a working warehouse, but there is a counter you can have a look. They are today's sponsors. So go and check them out as I knock the camera. emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. And of course,
make something awesome.
Go make something awesome. Or you could make something terrible, I don't know. It's whatever tickles your fancy. And of course to my patrons and channel members who support me, they pay my wages because I do this for a living. So big hugs and thank you to them. You can become a patron by going to patreon.com/modelmakingguru, or you can press the join button underneath any of my videos to become a channel member. You get loads of access to free stuff, exclusive stuff, and the live 24/7, live but off air, live 24/7 Zoom hangout exclusive to patrons and members from my channel and from Colin's channel, so go and check it out.
Exactly, folks.
And now Colin will pimp.
If you want to help support my channel, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/Festa67's workshop. or you can click the join button below any of my content and become a channel member, and that gives you access to the Zoom 24/7 off-air hangout, folks.
Yeah.
You could also at Model Making Guru or at Festa67 in the chat, and that will put our name in the gold box. Or if you want to help support Fox, you can click the $sign and slot in a super chat for him.
Thank you very much. I'm just turning off my Windows updates.
Oh, right. Oh, you see.
I've completely forgotten now. It's
Yeah. So, yeah, that helps keep the content coming. I'll do a bit of chat dollying if you want whilst you're doing that. Sarah Jane has popped in to give me her support for my shoddy assistant that I'm handicapped with.
I'm done.
Mark Shellard's in. All giveaway, he says, count me in.
Yep, count you in.
Eon's car is in, saying hello. As is Retro Rabbit, he says, congratulations on 199 episodes. Sorry I can't stick around today. Big hugs. Lots of love to both of you. We'll try to be around for next weekend for the big one.
That's this week. That's now.
Yeah, the clue's in 200th show.
Yeah, today is
Not
the
to worry.
200th show, but never mind.
Lynn sneaks in, Lynn Dipple, and
Hello.
says, hugs, I have errands to do, so I'm unable to attend. I guess I'm not going to win a Leman Russ. Lynn, put a comment in the video. Fox will go into details in a bit as to what you can type in, and you've got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
So leave a comment.
Just watch the stream later on when it's an archive. It'll tell you how to enter. It's the same way you do on the Monday show. We'll just be asking you to put a comment on the video. So you can
Mark
still enter.
Shellard saying hello to you and me. Hello, Mark. How you diddling? Andy McClish is in, saying hello
God.
to everyone.
McLeish is in.
Kevin.
Everybody lock everything down.
Exactly. Kevin Stevens is in. Afternoon, folks. Hope you're all well.
Hello.
Mark Shellard says that's a thunderstorm. Cool. Yeah, we've got one going on here at the moment.
Oh, what a thunderstorm. Oh.
We've had a few rumbles, but yeah, that's about it.
That was your butt, Festa.
Yeah, we got Jackie in saying I'm here, just about to start Yoda number 2.
Hello, Jackie.
Our very own Carl Sagan is in, the Candygram from Mongo.
Earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. Recently, we've waded a little way out, and the water seems inviting. I actually memorised a Carl Sagan quote to do today and completely forgot what it was, so I had to do that one again.
So impressed, mate. Stefan Last is in, saying good afternoon.
Hey, Stefan. Welcome, welcome.
Frankie Goes to Wobbywood is in. Hi, Fox, Festa and Chatland. And the
Hello.
biggest hello and hugs, he says, go to Mama Fox.
Yeah,
He's
of course
good,
they
isn't
do.
he?
Who's already gone for a snooze half an hour before we started, cheeky
I
cow.
know, she's brilliant, isn't she?
Yeah.
Sarah Jane's popped in to support me as I'm severely handicapped with my assistant. Hansa says, so this giveaway, is it a used ponytail by any chance? Let's see what he did there.
Funnily enough, in a drawer in the front bedroom is my ponytail, but my real ponytail when it was actually a real hair ponytail.
Yeah.
Because I went to the
Bill
barber's.
Cropper.
Oh, go on.
Bill Cropper's in, says howdy, huge congratulations on for Fox on 200 shows.
Thank you very much. Yes, I went into the barber shop it was about late 90s. Right, cut my hair off. I want a number 2 haircut because I was going away and it was going to be hot. So they cut my ponytail off. I said, what are you going to do with it? I said, what do you mean? She went, there's your ponytail. What are you going to do with it? I'm like, oh, still with the bubble on it.
Yeah, my wife still has mine in a bag.
Yeah, I brought it home to show Mama Fox and she kept it in a drawer somewhere. I could give it
It's the
away
only
as a prize.
It's the only time in our marriage that Helen's cried through something I've done. And that is when I cut all my hair off. She was proper, because I literally went from having my metal mullet to a shaved head. And,
So they were tears of joy then, were they? They were tears of happiness and joy and relief.
I think partly they were, but it was the shock, bless her. You know, it just...
With me, it was like I walked in the house, and because I'd had this long ponytail down to my butt for like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, 10 years or something, and like Mama Fox didn't even notice. And it was only about 3 hours later when I said, by the way, and she went, what? And I went, ponytail, and she went, and I held out the ponytail, and she went,
Yeah.
oh, bugger, hello. She hadn't even noticed.
Yeah. I think
Bless her.
with H, the worst part is I went from having a beard to clean shaven, and she'd never see me without a beard. So, hence why, you know, several years later, you're growing that beard back, ain't you?
Yeah.
All right, love. But anyway,
I don't know. Sarah Jane says, I most definitely don't want any of that Warhammer nonsense, so don't enter me into any of that rubbish. Well, you enter yourself. So,
absolutely.
if you don't want to win, don't enter. But you could win it and sell it. It's money, isn't it? You don't have to build it.
Exactly.
Once I
Paul
give it...
Tomazzo saying hello.
Yeah. Welcome, Paul. Welcome. Yeah, once you get it, you don't care what you do with it. You have to think like a Ferengi. It's profit. Opportunity.
Opportunity.
Opportunity, yes. So, welcome one and all. Thank you for reading those out, Cole, while I was doing my bits.
That's all right, mate.
I forgot to turn Windows updates off, so it's kind of saying, right, you need to reboot now, and it's like, no.
Yeah, I followed your lead. It's like I just switch them off until the day I'm not streaming.
Yeah, I kind of do that, and then I forget. And then it's the damn stream. I'm like, oh, fudge. Anyway, yes, welcome one and all to Warhammer Sunday. Like I said at the start, if you've not seen this before, this is where me and Colin do some Warhammer goodness. Now, you'll notice that over the last few weeks, last couple of months, we've been doing an Educating Festa special, which is basically, we're both building the same Leman Russ tank, but we're going to be painting it, but I'm going to be not teaching Festa how to paint, because that's nonsense, because I'm just a mediocre ass painter. I'm going to be showing Festa how I paint, so he can take those ideas and incorporate them into his own styles and techniques, because he's watching other people do videos about, you know, how to paint things, and seeing as he actually knows me in real life, he may as well just ask me to show him rather than watch a video of me doing it. So, because I'm just here, I'm just here.
Just there.
I know, I'm just here. He can smell me from there, so you know.
Just there.
If you know the YouTuber, just get him to sit down and do it for you.
Exactly.
It's basically several £1,000s with a tutorial that you're getting for free.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. It's costing me a bomb each month. I'm lucky. He's taking it in monthly payments.
£75 an hour, my normal rate, but I'm waiving that because you're lovely.
Yeah.
Because you're my only source of hex rivets now.
Damn! I knew there was a logic behind.
But then again, I'm my
reason.
only source of rivets. So
Exactly.
yeah. So we're going to be painting our Leman Russes, and we're going to be making a start today. Andy McLeish says, you assume I'd be taking the contents of your desk, you cheeky bar steward. You don't want the contents of my desk. It's like a whole mess of cable ties and an old wallet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And there's nothing of value in the wallet. So, Colin, Festa. I'll stop calling you Colin because I'm not your mum and it's not Sunday. Well, it is Sunday, but you're not in trouble. Well, you probably are in trouble, but not with me.
I was going to say, that's a first, isn't it?
Yeah, not in trouble. How are you doing, my old friend?
I'm all right, mate. Fine and dandy, mate. The usual. Suave, windswept and interesting, mate.
Lovely.
Allegedly. No, I'm fine and dandy, oh, mate. I've had something to eat. I've had a wee stretch.
What did you have to eat? What did you have to eat?
I had 2 ham, pickle and, what's his name, beef wraps.
Oh, do you know what? I got Mama Fox for lunch, but she didn't have because she went to snooze early.
What's that?
I've got selections of pork pies, right? So she's got little tiny ones. She's got regular pork pies like that big.
Yeah.
She's got
ickle pork and pickles.
Ickle pork and pickles. But she's also got, and I've never seen this before, it's a little tiny pork pie with Branston on the top. Actually, on the top of it. And it's in a little plastic thing with a bubble on the top with the Branston on it. It's like,
Oh, want.
yeah, just go to Tesco's, lads. Ickle, pickle, pork and pickle. I can't really taste the pickle in the pickle, though. In the pork and pickle.
Yeah, pork and pickle.
I also got her a jar of piccalilli.
Oh,
So whenever I take her a
proper piccalilli.
Yeah, no, they didn't have the branded one. The proper, is it? Who makes it?
Is it Elman's?
Is it? No, it's
Elman's. Cole Branston.
No, it's anyway, whoever it is, they don't have that brand in Tesco. They must be one of those like ones they're not getting supplies from. So it's the off-label, but it's not quite as strong. But it's got nice. But it's like I take her a pork pie. All I can smell around the house is piccalilli.
That first opening of a fresh jar of piccalilli when it just goes waft.
Oh no, the opening was I can't get the jar open and the lid is the wrong shape to fit in any of my jar opening tools.
Oh,
So
right. I've got one of those extra large ones that's screwed up underneath the cabinet. Brilliant.
I've got one that's got like one that size, and that size, and it's like a big clampy thing, and it didn't. None of them fitted, so I'm like, I can't get. Ooh, and I couldn't get off, so I had to like ding it with the hammer gently until it went. Most frustrating.
If in doubt, hit it with an hammer.
It's it with the hammer. Yeah. Anyway, are you ready?
I am 100% ready. Mark Shellard says, educated. They tried it once, long enough, with no success. Yeah. My English teacher did that on my report. There is no teaching this child.
This child will never amount to anything. I can't remember what I used to get on my reports. I never used to look. I think a teacher just used to write sigh.
Yeah.
Or this child will never shut up. Probably a more likely one. I'm sure at some point some teacher said, if you actually shut up for 1 minute, you might learn something.
Oh, yeah. I always remember getting home in my school uniform and my mum being stood there going, Just had a letter from your teacher asking how your broken leg's healing, love. Yeah. Because I thought, yeah, go out in your uniform with your bag, spare set of clobber, round your mates, get changed, go downtown, do a bit of skiving, you know?
Yeah. Forgetting that a broken leg would be several weeks.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh yeah, I took the full whack, mate. I took the full 6 weeks out, mate.
Oh, lovely. I remember I used to occasionally had Sky from school, and what I'd do was I'd sit around at home and I'd unplug the phone because it's behind a curtain, the little socket, so Mum and Dad wouldn't know, and just in case the school called, which they never did. But the irony was I'd Sky the day off school to then basically sit downstairs next to the phone watching whatever was on telly because just in case they called. It's like, it never occurred to me that I was just wasting the day when I might as well just have been at school. Yeah. Because I just spent all day worrying about not being at school and getting told off, so it was kind of wasted time.
On our reports, they used to have number of term days, and they would write in what that number was. Yeah. And then it was number of days attended, and there was always a massive difference between the numbers. And my bean would just look at me and go, really? I go, what? They've missed a number off, Mum.
Yeah, they're not good at writing numbers, these teachers.
Yeah, she's like, why? Why? Because school's boring. But anyway.
Sarah Jane says, Festa, if in doubt, give it a clout.
Exactly. Slap it with hammer.
Anyway, shut up. So we've got work to do. I'm going to have a swig of water.
Scary. Yeah. I'm going to have a swig of tea.
Have a swig of tea, love. Go on. Have it now. So, yes, we've got our Leman Russ tanks built and primed. We've all got our little custom bits and bobs on there. They've all been primed in Chaos Black spray. And they're ready to be painted, so we're going to start today. We've both got our little handles mounted, just blue tacked onto the top, because we're going to be painting the bottom, and then once that's done we can stick the handle. We've drilled holes in our bottoms, if you pardon the expression, because everyone needs a hole in the bottom. We've drilled a hole in the bottom because if you get the I know
Sounds so wrong.
If you've got the old Citadel painting handles, if you unscrew the top bit, there's a nice M8 screw. I think it's M8 screw. There's a nice M8 screw there.
Yeah.
So it probably even screw into my webcam.
And you can fit loads of accessories on there.
Yeah, the new ones you can't do that because they're rubbish. The new poncy middle class wine glass rubbish nonsense that's just...
Yeah, I mean, and they don't. The old ones don't fit the big base that the new ones do either, do they? So.
No, I mean these new. I mean this is the big new one. The old one, there is a small new one as well. You get different sizes. I quite like this. It's a bit easier and to use, but I don't like the fact...
Yeah, you can do the nice oval bases in there and things like that.
I just don't like the fact it's not detachable. You can't... So
no, you've got a self-tapper down the middle of it, haven't you?
Yeah, so if you have got any of the old ones, keep them. Keep them. Don't throw them away. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be painting today. So, are you ready, young man?
Yes, I'm... yeah.
Right, we shall begin. Prepare your wet palette.
We have the wet palette of greatness.
Yeah, we won't need a lot of it. So I've just got my little wet palette out today because I don't want to use a massive, enormous piece of... I don't want to sacrifice an enormous piece of... they said cartridge paper. Parchment paper.
Oh, I'm just using the same dodgy old bit that I had on Friday, mate, because that's how I roll.
Yeah, go for it. Well, what we're going to be doing first of all is putting down the base coat layer. So we're going to get messy with this. We're going to use a lot of paint. So I thought I may as well I'll let the other one dry out and keep that for a bit. We'll use the scruffy one. So, ooh, that sounded. Oh, there goes the lawnmower outside. Oh, Is that really loud? Is it going to have to close the window?
No, you carry on, mate.
Okay, people in chat, if the lawnmower gets annoying, I'll close the window. Let me know. I'll sweat to death, but let me know. If it's not bothering you, I'll leave the window open and not die of heat exhaustion. Right, so we've primed it. Abaddon black. Chaos black, even. What we're going to do is base it and then some post shading.
Oh, you're good.
Because if you do it with an airbrush, you can prime it black and then you can apply your base colour carefully and use the black primer as a shading layer. We can't do that because we're not using an airbrush. So it doesn't really matter what primer colour we use, but we use black. So the first colour we're going to do I think we decided on like a German grey sort of colour scheme.
Yeah.
Sort of deathcore, but it's not deathcore type, but a sort of German grey colour scheme because it's nice and simple, it's not too complex, and it just gives us all the techniques. I can show them all the techniques I use. But there is a choice we can make a bit later on as to what kind of grey. So we're going to start with Skaven Blight Dinge.
Yeah, the greatest name for a pot of paint, isn't it? Skaven Blight Dinge.
Well, Skaven are the rat people in Age of Sigmar. Skaven Blight, I assume, is a disease they spread, and Dinge is just a brilliant word. Dinge always sounds Scottish to me, a bit like dirge.
Yeah, it's Dinge, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, so we've got Skaven Blight Dinge. Give it a good shake. Yeah. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to get some on the wet palette. And you don't need to use a wet palette for this, because we're only going to be like slapping this on, but it just means
slap it on.
Slap it on. You're not going to use as much. So if you don't want to use a wet palette for this, you don't have to. But get yourself a goodly amount, because we're going to use quite a bit. So get that full capful on there. Scoop it on. I hope you can see this. Do let me know, Col, if you can't see what I'm doing, by the way. Cause...
Yeah, you have my undivided attention.
Aye. If you want me to go full screen at any point, let me know. Or you could just put me full screen. Right, so what we're going to do is put this base coat on. Now, the trick here is, how do you brush a base coat on without making lots of brush marks and get a mess and horribleness? There's 2 tricks. 1, use a wet palette. 3 tricks. 1, use a wet palette. 2, thin it ever slightly, ever tiny bit. And 3, use a brush like that. This is a Citadel medium dry brush. Doesn't matter what kind of brush it is, as long as it's soft, not spiky, but this is like a soft natural fibre, I think. Natural hair. Soft and it's flat. That's the trick. And what we're going to be doing is spreading it like butter. So basically, if you start on the bottom, it's the best place, because you can mess things up on the bottom. It's always good to start on the bottom, I always say in life. So, what we're going to do is take a tiny amount of water. Now, these brushes suck up water like a hose pipe. And I know a hose pipe doesn't suck water up. That doesn't make any sense. So just dip the corner in a little bit. Get the excess off on your tissue. And then just spill it everywhere. That'd be great. And then just...
That works.
Yep. And then just kind of work around the edge of the paint. Don't go into the middle of the paint. Go to the edge of the paint. And just flatten it out a little bit. Add a little bit more if you need to. You'll probably get enough from the wet palette, but... You don't want it runny, you just want it a bit thinner. And the trick now is when you put it on, try not to be very gentle and just spread it. Make that paint go as far as possible. Try not to, don't rub it around, keep kind of go in one direction. And just spread it thin. Now, I've probably gone a bit too thin there, so I'll have to do a few more coats, but it's just about straight movements. And you're just literally spreading it like butter on a piece of bread thinly, and you're not building it up. I've probably gone a bit too thin, so I'll get some more paint on there. And this is the trick. I'll do some on the side as well. So you get it on there, and you're just dragging it and sliding it. And because you're using a big flat brush, and because you've got it slightly thinned, and because you're being gentle, you're not really giving it a chance to have any brush marks, because it's thin enough, it's just going to flatten out. And as you can see, I'm like spreading it here, I hope you can see, and I'm going quite thin now because I've still not refilled the brush yet. There's almost nothing left, but I'm just trying to spread that out. And I'm not going back over the paint I've already put on, because that rooks at the surface and makes it rough. And it's just about spreading it as thin as possible. It's a bit like a contrast paint. You can kind of avoid going over the bit you've just applied, unless if you see a bit of a brush mark, just very, very gently, just move the brush across it, but almost like touch, like you're not touching it. Just really, you want to just flatten off the little. If you see a little brush ridge, just flatten it off. You shouldn't really get one. Now it will look terrible because we've gone really thin. It'll look really patchy, but we'll do more than one coat. And this is just the way to do it.
Multiple thin coats.
Yeah. And this is all it is, basically. It's the trick is, it's the brush you use. If you use a little pointy brush, it'll take you forever and you'll get a really rough texture to it. A big thumbprint, look at that. 2 dirty great big thumbprints in the paint. Good lad. Yeah, if you put the paint on thick, you're going to have brush marks, because it's like putting your footprint in a load of concrete. It's just going to stick. If you go for thin, it's going to level out a bit. A bit more water, I think. And it's hard to put into words, but you'll kind of get a feel for it after a while as to when the paint's a bit too thick or a bit too thin. Like if it's pooling up in corners, you've gone too thin, so just keep going. and get a bit more paint. But it's important you don't go from the middle of the paint pile. That's the trick. Always go from the edge. And it shouldn't take too long to get a base coat on there. Just keep going until your paint runs out and refill the brush. And we're just painting everything at this point.
The whole shebang.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something that's obviously not going to be grey, like an exhaust, you can leave that. But don't worry if you get grey on it. Doesn't matter. And it will look streaky AF right now, but that's fine. Why does everybody do their lawn the moment I start a live stream? God damn it.
Don't worry about it, mate.
No, I just hate all my neighbours. Because they've all got gardens the same as mine, which are just not exactly big gardens, but they need a petrol lawnmower to do their grass.
Yeah.
And they need to do
I've never understood that.
And they need to do
Some people need a petrol mower just to do a window box, don't they?
And it's like, and you need to do it every Sunday. Really? I haven't cut the grass in 6 months, and you know what? Don't care. It's fine. I don't know. Middle class nonsense. So you will get through paint quite quickly on this. You'll end up refilling your paint pile quite quickly, but
yeah.
The trick is, and every now and then, by the way, I forgot to say, every few minutes, just rinse off your brush and carry on, because paint will build up and it'll dry out a little bit in the bristles. So just rinse off the brush every now and then, and it'll also pick up fibres from your wet palette because you're scraping it onto the brush. So just rinse it out every few minutes, every now and every 5 minutes or so. If you do get some brush marks, it's not the end of the world.
Oh no.
Now I know some of these things I'm going to show you might sound a bit patronising to explain, like how to put the paint on the model. But although I'm showing Festa this, I'm also doing this for other people to watch, so I have to be mindful.
Exactly.
Be mindful that people watching this might not even know how to paint. So I do apologise to advance to you, Festa, that I'll probably teach you some stuff you already know.
No, not at all. I already understand that because, like I say, there's going to be people that haven't actually done any of this yet. So.
Yeah. But the trick really is to use, I've often found with painting is, when I do it, is just purely to use the biggest brush you can get away with within reason.
Yeah.
Because that's one way you can reduce your brush marks. You could use a little tiny base brush for this, like a medium base brush, but it'd just be, you're covering smaller areas, so I'm going to have to refill my paint already at this point. That was a bit too thin, that one. So, how are you getting on?
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is brush marks, because I'm very heavy-handed.
Yep. Well, this is the trick. A lot of the stuff we're going to be doing is like, you need to just be almost just lightly caressing the paint surface with the brush. Just literally just dusting it over. It's like not putting any pressure on at all. Just let the weight of the brush do the pressing for you. And go slowly. It's avoiding doing lots of jabby stuff.
Yeah.
And short brush marks. Try and make long brush marks. And sometimes you can't. You have to do little jabby bits, but keep the brush flat and just... It will look streaky right now, and you might think you've got some brush marks, but you haven't. It's just because you're going over a black primer.
Yeah.
You can see the primer coming through. I need to refill my paint pile. Are we having fun yet?
We are. It's wafer thin.
You're actually nice and clear, so I can see what you're doing. I don't know how, but somehow.
Wafer thin coat.
Ooh, yeah. Lovely. Now, what you can do, when you've actually done everything, when you've got a full coat on there,
yeah.
Usually it's been long enough that you can just go on with a second coat, but if you want to give it a quick drizz with your hairdryer, just to quickly flash anything off, and then go in for just do another coat until you get a nice solid colour, and that's it now for the base coat. We're not going to have any of the primer showing through.
Yeah.
Just give them black tinge. There we go. Not going to have any of the primer showing through, so this is why we have to do the post shading later on. But do be conscious of like picking up fibres from your palette paper. It is a thing that happens. That's why you need to just rinse your brush off every now and then. Especially when you're doing like heavy stuff like this. If you're just doing detail painting and stuff, you don't get that. But when you're doing like working through lots of paint and scraping it off the palette and stuff. It's
Paul D. Tommaso says, Andy McLeish, just beat the devil out of it.
beat the devil out of it. Yeah, that's because you were, I think, rinsing your brush off earlier on.
Yeah.
But it really is like a
Bob
tiny
Ross
amount.
style.
No, tiny amount of water. And if you do go on a bit thick and you put a little bit too much on, just spread it. Spread it like butter. Spread it like Marmite.
Yeah.
Spread it like Debbie. In Dallas. Never mind. Joke was a bad joke to start with, I think. This is quite a dark colour. It's actually hard to see where I've painted, where I haven't. I'm like, oh, have we done this bit yet? Because we've just done the first coat. Oh, I can hear thumping bass music. So it sounds like the chavs at the back having a party. Joy?
Oh, really? Oh, so you got the full Monty today, then?
Yeah. This is not how middle-class suburbia is supposed to go down.
Middle-class suburbia, yeah.
Lower, very lower middle class, let's just be honest.
Yeah, those days are long gone, mate, aren't they?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
very lower middle class. This is where we both go quiet now. So don't forget, folks, because we're going to be both busy painting now. Do remember to ask us stuff in chat. Give us things to talk about. If you want to catch our attention so we can look up and see the comment, make sure to do @ModelMakingGuru or @Festa67's workshop at the start of your comment. Or if you want, you can do a super chat. You can press the dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. I can do this on camera. And that will mean that we have a chance to actually see your comment then, because our chat's over the way on the other side of the bench and it's quite small. So do either of those and it just means we don't miss your comment.
Philly says, so are you teaching Festa, or is this a cunning plan to slow him down?
Yes, both. All of the above. It's the light touch that's the trick. Again, it's just like spreading butter. It's the only way I can think of explaining it, or spreading margarine. If you remember margarine from the dark days, from the dark times.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah. You kind of eventually start to get a feel for the paint and you know when to add a tiny bit of water to your brush and stuff like that. You can't really learn that bit. That's just...
Yeah.
That just comes with whatever your technique for brushing is.
Comes with practice at the end of the day.
Yeah. And everybody brushes differently, so you'll learn how it works for you. And there will be little spots you miss, but don't worry, the reason priming black is good is if we miss any little spots, then that's great, it's just dark.
Yeah.
It looks dark, that's fine, it looks like a shadow.
Adds a bit of tonal variance.
Oh, ooh, get you with your big words.
I'll cut you with the big words, eh?
Have you been reading them books again? With the words
I
in
have.
stuff?
You know them special books you sent me in the brown paper wrapped box?
No, not them books, they don't have big words in. They don't really have words in.
Yeah, I noticed there was a lot of pictures.
Yeah, words and pictures. Oh, morning, Vicar. Right, I'll put that there.
Oh,
and I'll do my
look
turret.
at you.
Got to be careful on the turret because spotlight.
You're on your turret already.
Well, I'm just going round, yeah, but I've only done one coat. I'm still on the stripy.
Yeah, I've done the underside and a little bit of the front.
It's all right. You're learning. It's new to you. You're doing new things. You'll take more time than me. I'm an old hand at this nonsense, so
I'm doing well.
You are.
Yeah.
You're doing very well. You're probably being more cautious than you normally would because you're trying to do it right. But once you've got the hang of this, it becomes second nature.
Like anything, you're learning a new technique. You want to savour it. Yeah.
Well, it's that, and like I was saying before about you'll find it best way to work for your method of brushing. So
Yeah.
you're still trying to figure out what to do and how to incorporate that into your way of doing things. So
Yeah.
once you figure it out, you'd be much faster. You'd have to go too fast, of course. No. You don't need to worry about putting grey on the cannon, apart from on the muzzle bit, on that bit there where it comes out the turret, because we're going to paint.
Oh, right, yeah.
We're going to paint that a different colour anyway, so the actual spinny bits, you don't need to paint them.
Bobbin says tonal variance, is that a bit like flesh tones? Is the correct answer.
I think it was one of them like 1980s two-tone bands, I think, tonal variance.
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
Relaxing.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. I
do kind of much prefer. You don't need to worry about the whip antenna either, because that'll be metal. So just the base of it you need to do. I do find brushing much more relaxing and calming than airbrushing. I find airbrushing stressful because it's machinery.
You've got all the
set
faff
up
with it as well, haven't you?
Yeah, brushing, you just get your brush and your paint and off you go. There you go, done what?
You spend more time cleaning your airbrush than you do painting with the bloody thing.
I hate it. I actually hate airbrushing. I love the effect it gives, and I know sometimes you just have to shut up and do it, but
yeah,
don't mean I have to like it. If you've got any bolters or las guns or anything, like, you know, if like I mounted some las guns on the side, any weapons where they've got like a casing,
right,
give them a coat, because we'll make the casings grey and it's easier to do it now. Just paint the if like the machine gun, the big. Oh, I can't remember what you've got now. The heavy bolt. If you've got like a heavy stubber on the pintle, that doesn't have a casing, I don't think. So you can leave that. If you've got like the bolters on the sides, just do them grey as well. Easier to paint them grey and then paint the metal bits than it is to paint them metal and then try and pick out the casing. If you see what I mean.
I see what you mean, dear.
I see what you mean. Now I need to take this off the stand now because I need to get underneath.
Yeah, cheers. See, I was primed and ready there, mate.
That pump was well primed.
God.
I know, I'm impressed. The boy done well.
It's just, we're so used to doing it, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. So I've done the top of the turret, but I'm going to leave it for a minute and let that dry before I start doing the under, because I need to take it off this clampy thing, so I'm going to leave that to dry for a bit. Four. Mind the gap. Bloody hell, that's the fastest I've seen model making guru go, says Andy McLeish. I do paint kind of fast normally when I'm just doing base colours and stuff. I'm going to switch up to a bigger brush. I'm going to go for the large. These are actually dry brush. I'm going to go for the large dry brush.
Oh, you're good.
It's still soft, but it might just get things going a bit faster. Although then again, I've got these guns to paint, so let's do them first. And the hatch cover. I need more painting soon. Let's get a brush for these. I don't want a big brush. Let's find a little brush. For these kind of base coating steps, you don't need to use your nicest brushes. You can use scruffy old brushes, because as long as they're soft and flat, that's all that matters. Really. So I've got loads of old base brushes and dry brushes that I just keep as basing brushes.
Yes, the one thing I'm sadly lacking in is a lot of different dry brushes, but then my paintbrush collection's quite new because I haven't been doing a lot of brush painting. Normally my stuff has always been airbrushing. This is why coming into Warhammer it was quite alien brush painting.
Yeah.
But it's therapeutic, that's what I find.
I find brush painting really relaxing. It's stressful when you're trying to do tiny details, but compared to airbrushing,
yeah,
I find it much more chillaxed. I just said chillaxed. Oh dear Christ, I'm going to ban myself from YouTube.
Yeah, you're going to start saying smash that like button next. That's when I disown you.
I feel compelled to put on a set of headphones for no apparent reason. I feel compelled to wear an enormous set of headphones, even though I'm not doing a video game stream.
Yeah.
I
had to stop myself.
I know exactly what you're going to say. Moving on.
Moving on.
La, 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 la. Now, when you get to your things like your little weapons...
well, you were steady, Neris.
I mean, like your sponson weapon or anything like that.
Yeah.
You can use that same brush, but if you've got a slightly smaller brush...
I have, just there.
Then go for that. It's just a little bit easier because it doesn't really matter, but... Like I've got a shade brush here that just doesn't... For this kind of thing, all that matters is you're putting paint on smoothly. It doesn't matter what kind of brush you use, really. As long as it's soft.
As long as you're getting coverage.
Yeah, that's the thing. Only matters... The brush type only really matters later when you're doing more complicated stuff.
Yeah.
But I find shade brushes quite interchangeable as just basing brushes. They're soft enough.
Sarah Jane says, Fox never moves above crawl. He's allergic to it. Oh.
I'm allergic to exercise. I know I'm allergic to exercise because every time I exercise, I get hot flushes and sweats and pain. And that's clearly a sign of some sort of allergic reaction.
Yeah, that's age, mate.
Yeah. See, here I'm actually using a medium shade brush just to get the base on. Just because I don't need a big, massive brush. But it's just about trying to keep going in the same direction. Don't wiggle back and forth. That's the trick.
Yeah.
And don't worry if it's not smooth, because that will be fixed later. When you do your second coat.
When am I going to do my second coat?
No, I mean,
oh, right.
If you get any streaks and stuff, don't worry about that, because that's where the second coat gets rid of them. It will look like absolute bish right now. It'll look like you painted it in 1985 with Humbrol enamels and a really crappy brush.
Yeah, it's a bit streaky bacon, but I don't expect it to have full coverage at the moment.
No. Now, I'm not sure which bits of this plasma weapon are actually casing, so I'll just paint it all grey and then...
It's avoiding the temptation to keep loading the brush to slap the paint on because you think you haven't got enough.
Yeah, you want to get...
That's probably the right way to... Yeah, if you think you haven't got enough, that is enough almost. Yeah,
it's, as long as you're spreading paint around, you don't need to refill it. That's why those big flat brushes do make it a bit easier, because you can spread the paint nicely.
Yeah.
If you use a little brush like this on a big flat surface and you put loads on, then you can't really spread the paint around. So you tend to get lumps and bumps. But the big flat one, you can put your paint down and then just spread it out. Did you ever do screen printing at school? In art?
Yes.
Where you put the little drip and then you get the plastic card and you go...
Yeah.
That's basically what we're doing. In a way.
I love doing screen printing.
That's great, wasn't it? But that's kind of
so cool.
That's kind of what we're doing, is putting the paint on and then using the big flat brush to just munge it in a bit.
Munge it in there. There's a good word.
Yeah. Basically, just reload your brush when you're effectively dry brushing is the trick.
So who taught you this technique then? Is this a technique that you invented yourself or you've acquired rather than stole, because that sounds wrong?
I steal techniques all the time. No, this is just how I do it. I've not really got it from anywhere. I just, I tried various things, and when I was basing something and I thought, well, I need a bigger brush and I've only got a dry brush. Screw it, I'll use that. And it was big and soft, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can spread it around. And it just seemed to come out quite nice, so... didn't invent it, but I just kind of made it up.
No, it's like I say, you've been brush painting a lot of years, since I've known you anyway. Whereas,
I'm only about, 5 years?
I've only been brush painting like this since I've been doing the Warhammer stuff, so...
Well, that's the same for me. I only started... before Warhammer, I'd tried brush painting in the past with Tamiya paints, not understanding why it was garbage.
Yeah.
And then realised I couldn't brush paint, so I never did. Apart from details and stuff. Because I wasn't very good at airbrushing, I gave up modelling because I'm like, I can't do any of it. But I was also trying to build and paint Starfleet vessels at the time, which is always a bad move. So...
That's what I find with my hands as they are now. I'm very all or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest problem with brush paint is I do put a lot of pressure on the brush. But it's only because I can't feel whether I'm putting enough pressure on, so I overdo it to compensate, if that makes any sense. And
No, that makes perfect sense.
I get frustrated with that because I don't want to put brush marks in or anything like that, but you sit there and you think, am I actually applying any paint there or not?
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And that's where this technique that I do, you'll obviously adapt to your methods because nobody paints the same.
No.
I've gone for a bigger brush and I'm doing the base of here again. I've got it a little bit thin and I'm just, with no pressure at all, I'm literally just dragging it all the way down.
Oh, happy days. That's your second coat you're doing now, is it?
Yeah, this will be a second coat now.
Okay.
It can take several coats. It can take 2 or 3 coats if you go really thin. You don't have to go quite this thin. But the thing is, of course, depending on what you're painting, you might quite like the way that there's kind of a streak to the black primer underneath.
Well, yeah, I find the black primer shows through in the recesses quite nicely. And because you're not smothering the workplace with paint, you're not filling up them recesses. So yeah.
But I mean, if you were doing, say, for example, winter camo, you could use a white paint and have it very thin and use a big brush like this and stay in one direction and you get that kind of streaking effect, which you'd actually want.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to go, the best thing to do is if you want to go thicker, if you want to actually be thicker, you can just use the paint straight from the wet palette without adding water to the brush. Yeah. And it really is a tiny amount of water you're adding to the brush. It's almost nothing.
Yeah.
I tend to get the corner of this big fat brush in the water and then wipe it on the tissue and then put it in the paint.
Yeah.
But once you get handy with the technique, then you can start doing things like not adding water to it and just using it straight from the wet palette because you know how to spread it out. It'll be a bit thicker and you'll be faster because you'll get more coverage, but you can spread it out more then.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, we will be going over this with Nuln Oil. So, so it doesn't have to be an absolute perfectly opaque paint coat, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't need to be completely flat grey. You can't see any primer, because there's a lot to go on top of it. So as long as it's mostly the right colour, that's all you need to worry about.
Yeah, you're basically knocking the black out of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get it nice and flat, that's brilliant. But we're going to be doing a wash over the top. A complete wash, and we're going to be doing dry brushing for highlights, and we're going to be doing chipping and other things as well. So,
no, I like it.
But these dry brushes are really great for just fast coverage.
I mean, for me, it's like anything. It's different, and I like learning different things because otherwise you get stale, don't you? And
you just do the same thing all the time. I mean, I have no problem
to challenge myself, you know.
I have no problem doing the same thing all the time because I'm lazy, but I do appreciate learning things sometimes. And other little handy hints, like for example on here where you've got vertical and horizontal recess panel lines, always try, like here, if I'll go down with the brush, but you get a little pile up of paint, so then just go across to just make sure you just
knock it off,
but no pressure at all. I mean, literally just feather touch as best you can. Yeah,
because you're not building up a ridge then, are you?
Yeah, you don't want to build up that ridge of paint.
You don't want a ridge, folks.
I like a nice ridge. It's hard. It's kind of hard to explain because it's all about feel and touch, and it's all about sort of an instinct with handling the brush. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's not something you're gonna pick up straight away because you need to incorporate it into your style of brushing and your style of holding the brush.
Yeah.
And
Mark Shellard says, "Let's see if they catch me this time. Last time," he says to Andy. Oh dear, have we been missing chat messages?
What have we done?
I don't know. I don't know whether he meant us or not.
Don't know. If you don't at us or super chat it,
we are bad. I'll do a bit of chat dollying in a minute.
No, we're not bad. We're just busy painting. It is the order of things.
Yeah.
They know what to do if they need to catch our attention. More funeral dirge, says Andy McLeish, because he atted me.
Don't forget, folks, belly and bench.
Oh, yeah.
What's in the belly? What's on the bench? And what is your beverage of choice?
You're adding your beverage to the mix. Interesting.
Yeah. And also, don't forget, there is a giveaway today because it's the 200th show. So at some point, we'll be discussing the giveaway and how to qualify and get in on it.
Yeah, you can win yourself for your own stash a Leman Russ Demolisher kit, which is the one that we're making now, which you can make as a Demolisher with a stubby chud gun, or a Punisher with the big, dirty, great big Gatling. I don't recommend the Demolisher, it's just this little chode. It's just horrible, don't like it. It's quite dangerous as a weapon, but it looks like a chode, it's horrible. Keep in mind as well, when you're doing your second and third coats, you can actually apply less paint because you've got less coverage to do.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you're actually applying less and less, not less and less, but you know, you can be a little bit thinner here and there because you're really just
going over what you've gone over. You're almost just getting the bits and pieces that you may or may not have caught on the first pass.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you file something and you file at 90 degrees and you get 90-degree lines that way, and then you file that way and you get and then as the lines build up, it becomes they're not scratchy but frosted because all the lines add up. Let's go for blending. More paint. You'll go through a lot of paint doing this method. It is the truth.
Right.
Shaking, shaking, shaking. I hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. Welcome one and all who are watching.
Yeah.
Apologies, like Colin says, that we won't do a lot of chat interaction because we are doing the painting now, and it's, as I'm teaching Festa, so that's the important bit, is the actual painting. So wait till we're painting the tank commander, then you won't hear anything from us. We'll never read your comments ever.
Yeah.
That'll be like, we'll be getting our telescopes out.
Steady, Neris.
Easy now. It's easy to get disheartened when you're at this stage because your paint job does look like absolute balls.
Did you say avoid painting the tracks at this stage? Yeah.
Yeah, don't paint the tracks yet. It doesn't matter if you get paint on a bit of paint on them, but we'll keep them black for now. We're going to paint them. We're going to paint them a different grey colour when it comes to the tracks for the weathering anyway.
Right. So. Okay, mate.
So don't need to paint them yet. Doesn't matter if you get some paint on them as you're painting, but you don't need to be neat right now. If you paint everything grey, it's fine. Just save yourself the painting. Yeah, it's easy to get a bit disheartened because you think you're doing a bad job with the paint, but you're not. Once you've got all the other stuff and the weathering and the varnish and everything else on top, this will look smooth as a baby's butt.
Mark Shillard says, we were mentioning streaking. Yeah, I know, mate. Scary, isn't it?
I don't even like cricket.
Is there still the thing of the good old traditional British streaker?
I don't know.
Is that still a thing?
I don't remember ever seeing it on BBC News any time recently, so I'm guessing not.
Used to be every single sporting event, didn't it? Oh, there's a streaker.
I don't think so. I remember that classic photograph of the streaker being led off the pitch and the policeman's got his helmet.
Policeman's helmet.
Yeah, but it's notable in the fact that they're all in like the streaker's in this kind of really biblical Leonardo da Vinci style painting pose. It's like a Rembrandt.
Looks like the guy from the Joy of Sex book, doesn't he? You know, it's like,
I wouldn't know. I've never read the Joy of Sex book.
Ah, well, there you go then.
I can't possibly comment on that. I may have watched the video, but I haven't seen the book.
There's a video? Oh my God.
Yes, no, my friend, this is going back about 25, 30 years. My friend's family, what they used to do was, they used to have at Christmas, like a lucky dip. They get a big old barrel, plastic barrel, like water bucket thing. Yeah. They fill it with, I don't know, sawdust or something. And they'd each bring a present and put it in. And you'd dive your hand in and rummage around and you'd pull a present out. It was like a silly family thing they did. Yeah. And if you picked out your own present, you had to put it back in and get a different one.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he did it one year, and I used to go around and stuff, and he did it one year, and he put his hand in and pulled out a video, this is VCR, a video of the Joy of Sex. Oh, no, the Kama Sutra, sorry, it was the Kama Sutra. Yeah. It was like a how-to Kama Sutra, and he was like, Oh dear! But it turns out it was his gran that put it in there.
Oh no, even funnier.
It was his gran that bought it and put it into the family. It's like bobbing for apples, I suppose. You know what I mean? I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. There used to be a name for it. I can't think what it was.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Still looks like butt cheeks, but it's coming along.
Hey mate, don't worry about that.
Don't forget, of course, to catch the edges of the track units. You know where they meet the tracks. I often forget to get paint on there, and they just look a bit black all of a sudden. So don't forget to pick those out.
Yeah,
that's coat number 2 on the body. The second coat starts to come together, and you start to see a more solid colour. Are you on your turret? What are you on?
No, not yet. I've not even started that. I'm still on my first coat on the body.
Good lad. If you've got a bigger, flatter brush, you can go for that. Speed yourself up if you want to.
That's right, mate.
All that matters is that it's soft and flat, and you would go like that one. More tissue. You get through a lot of kitchen roll doing this. I used to. What's this? Mark Scheller says I used to, but I got banned from sporting events for some reason. Jeff Lightson says good evening, guys, and everyone in chat.
Hello, Jeff. How you doing,
Jeff.
mate?
Hello,
Fancy seeing you again.
Which model was the most annoying to... Oh, Jacaro Jim is in. Welcome, Jacaro.
Hello, mate.
Jacaro is a name of a colour, Jacaro orange. And it's also Jacaro are like orangutan-like species who are very good at making technical things.
Oh, right, yeah.
In the Warhammer lore. He says, which model was the most annoying to paint for you guys? I'll let you go first.
Most annoying model to paint? For me, well, I say annoying. The most intense was probably the Berlin camo paint jobs on the tanks I did.
Well, I'd say maybe say annoying or least satisfied. Which did you least enjoy painting? Let's put it that way. Might be a better way to...
Oh, bloody hell.
What gravelled your ass?
Probably the Revell lifeboat.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
I just had no feeling for the kit from the moment I opened the box. It was just like...
Which bit of the word Revell on the box put you off buying it, making it?
Yeah, it was just one of those, you know. It was a buddy build at the time. And it was...
So you had no choice.
Yeah, it was
I
like...
had no choice.
Yeah, it wasn't a subject that, excuse my pun, floated the boat, so to speak.
No.
You know, it just, yeah.
Right, I'm going over the weapons now with a bigger flat brush this time because I used the small brush for that first coat. For the second coat, I can just quickly whiz over them with the second coat.
Yeah.
A little tiny bit thicker than before, and I can just quickly get it on there, and it just covers the gaps. And there you go. For me, least...
Tough one, isn't it?
Well, kind of. For me, it's not a specific model. My least enjoyable paint jobs are Gumpler.
Oh, really? That surprises me.
Just because of all the faffing about, I had to think of then. Just because of all the faffing about you've got to do, because you can't just build them and paint them like we normally do. You've got to...
Yeah, you got your inner frame and
Well, and then you've got all the problems of I can't use this thinner and I can't use that product and I can't use this because it'll melt the plastic. I enjoyed painting the Sazabi because that was the Borderlands paint scheme. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I love that.
But I did not, and any Gumpler, I just don't enjoy painting them, or at least I stopped enjoying it because it took the fun away. Now going forward, of course, I now know that I can build them into a fixed pose, which makes life easier, but also there's nothing stopping me brush painting them, treating them like a dirty great big Warhammer. Of course, I wouldn't be able to do a nice clean, like I wouldn't do a nice clean shiny Gundam Exia because that's not going to look weathered and battened, but if I was doing like a Zaku or something, I could just do a normal paint job, build it in a fixed pose.
That would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So going forward, The problem was that at the time I hadn't done brush painting, so I hadn't done Warhammer. But now I've done Warhammer and I'm learning brush painting slowly. I now know there are techniques I can apply to Gunpla that will make it a lot more fun. So I might not be able to do all the weathering techniques, but that's still frustrating.
You'd have a bloody good try.
Yeah, maybe. I could still do some of the weathering techniques, but it'd still be frustrating. Wow, I managed to get almost no primer on the inside of that little stowage crate that I made, and I've also managed to get no paint in there either. Well done.
How'd you manage that?
I don't know. Jeff says that Sazabi was amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was a nice paint job.
It won an award, and then it didn't. But we won't talk about that.
No.
No. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. So I am tempted to do my Kshatriya in that same kind of Borderlands paint scheme, just so I've actually got one for myself.
Why not? That would actually lend itself nicely to the technique.
Yeah. Because I mean that Borderlands paint, that paint style, it's really hard work. I don't mean difficult, I mean just lots of work.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but at the same time, I just kind of really liked the way it came out.
Yeah, but the result was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was one of those kind of paint jobs that myself, I looked at and thought, it's not that good. And then everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. I'm like, wait, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah, but that's the age-old thing, isn't it? We see our own work differently to what others do.
Yeah, a good artist never thinks their work is good. Don't panic too much if you look at the paint and think you've got some very subtle brush marks, because even I can see some tiny little gribbly bits.
Yeah.
But the really, really tiny little streaks and stripes, they will vanish when you put weathering stuff on top and dry brushing.
Yeah.
So you'll never get an airbrush smooth surface. So don't expect to get an airbrush quality surface on this. That's kind of unrealistic. But you will get some of the little lumps and bumps will just disappear.
Yeah.
As the paint dries, and some of them will disappear once you put all the weathering and stuff on top. So don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's something we must do in the future. Do a Gundam. One, it might get you back into Gundam.
Yes.
It has been a while.
It's been a significant amount of time.
It'd just be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You can choose.
Do a Gundam that we have to brush paint.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something like that.
Jeff likes hoping that his internet doesn't fall over again. I thought you'd already come in before. Hey, Jeff's internet, be awesome. Don't be a dick.
the internet's been a bit strange. It was doing it to me during the Sunday show.
I know I could hear you. I'm sorry. No, joke died.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, glitching somewhat.
You're glitching.
I know Dave had issues.
Halfway to glitching, it's glitching. Nobody remembers that. God damn it.
No.
Nobody remembers a show called Gilbert's Fridge.
No,
where
never
Gilbert
heard of it.
was this like 6 foot. It was like a puppet. It was a puppet thing on ITV.
Yeah.
But it was for the teenagers. So Gilbert was this green alien in the 1980s with like snot running out of his nose, and he had a punk haircut. And I think Gaz Top was part of it. He appeared on one of the Saturday morning shows, and then he got his own show called Gilbert's Fridge. And bearing in mind this was a silly kids show, it was like a little sketchy thing, and one of the things was called Halfway to Hitchin, and it was basically about prisoners of war in a German prisoner of war camp in World War II. And it was all in black and white, and Gilbert was like a British soldier.
Yeah.
And this big massive alien with sticky out bits. And it was just really silly nonsense, but the theme was, it's halfway to Hitchin, it's Hitchin I'm missing. I don't know why I remember it, but it's like, nobody remembers Gilbert's Fridge, and it makes me sad. And I thought...
No, it just don't ring a bell, mate.
I thought the idea of a kids' TV programme, like a, afternoon... Might have been a Saturday afternoon show, and it was like a slightly comedic, and yet they have a little sketch series. It was every week they'd have the same sketch.
Yeah.
Set in a German prisoner of war camp in World War II in 1980s. What? Right, so I'm on my third coat now. You'll find when you do your second and third coats they are a bit faster because you're not having to cover quite as much. And I'm going quite thin now and quite light because there's not as much to try and cover up. But if you want that really solid colour, you can just take it straight from the wet palette now. Get a little bit on the... You're only taking a little bit of paint on the brush, by the way. I should have said that an hour ago. And then spreading it around. The 3 coats should be enough. 2 can sometimes be enough. Depends on the colour. I'm in with my big brush. It's time for my big brush.
Oh, was that Terminator, was it?
No.
Let's have a swig of tea.
It was not Arnie.
Jokeroo Jim says, which guard regiment will this tank be for?
This one isn't really being anything realistic. It's just like a painting test thing because I'm teaching Festa here how I paint things, so he can take my techniques and use them for his own nefarious purposes. So we're just doing a made-up thing, really. I'm doing a German grey colour scheme like Deathcore, just because it's a nice, simple colour scheme that allows me to show a few techniques off without getting too complicated or too fiddly. So it'll be kind of like Deathcore colours, but it's not really going to be Deathcore. It's got a normal dude in it. So it's not really going to be a real, legitimate Imperial Guard division or anything like that. It's just we're just doing like... I had different choices of colour schemes to do because I want to show a few different techniques, and sort of greys or greens, just flat grey and flat green seem to be the best two to do the techniques I'm going to do, so I figure we'll go for greys. Should have really gone for greens, I guess, because they film better but on camera, but I wasn't going to do camouflage or anything like that. Because, excuse me, the whole point really is just to put a few arrows in Festa's quiver of techniques. I'm not teaching him because I think I'm brilliant and he's rubbish. I'm not teaching him how to paint. I'm teaching him how I paint.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily the right way to do it. It's just how I do it.
Well, I'm forever saying, how did you do that?
Yeah. It's no different. This is basically Festa going onto YouTube and saying how to paint a Leman Russ and watching videos from 10 different people. It just happens that he knows me in real life, so he can just ask me to show him rather than watch a video of it. Oh, what was that?
That was me belching, or trying to stifle a belch.
That did not come from your mouth.
Did.
That did not come from your mouth. I'm not even sure it came from your ass, but it didn't come... I don't even know where that came from. No, I don't believe that for a minute.
Believe what you want, dear. Believe what you want, dear.
I didn't know you become part of Duck Dynasty. La 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 la.
A man of many noises.
I'm a man of many noises. So when you're doing this third coat, I don't know if you have a quick look what I'm doing here. Taking paint straight from the wet palette, but you'll see when I put it on, I don't know if you will, it doesn't quite go as far. It only really spreads that far. But that's perfect because I can just gently fuss it like that, and it's nice and flat. And I don't know if you'll see on the shine, it only goes about that far down now.
Yeah.
Because it's on the rough surface, but that's all I'm doing. I'm taking it straight from the wet palette now and just spreading it on, and that's what gives you the nice flat colour. It's the second or third coat that makes it. Yeah. You can go sideways with the brush, but it's just about get it on and then very, very lightly just smear it out. And it's this last coat. It will look a bit bitty, but that's just because it's not dried yet. And that will all disappear. So this is the trick. It's the second or third coat. Third coat's usually the trick. And you can be a bit more stabby. It doesn't really matter because as long as you get the paint on there and then smooth it out. Yeah. That's the golden ticket. That's the golden ticket. It's hard to actually kind of explain it really, because a lot of it's just instinctive. A lot of it comes from the feel of the paint under the brush, which I know
well, that's it. I mean, it's something you've been doing for a long time, so you're now trying to impart that, and it's not the easiest thing to do.
It's like if I said to you, how do you tie a pair of laces? Take me through all the steps.
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
like
hard.
Me saying, right, Here's a blank sheet of paper, Fox. I'm going to teach you how to write code.
Yeah. I'm going to teach you how to TIG weld.
Yeah.
Watch me. Zzz, whoa. So it's one of those things that we've all got something that we do unconsciously, like that we know so well. Not that we know so well, but I wouldn't even say that. It's not that I know it so well. It's basically a lot of this is the feel of the paint, and what you're looking at it doing, and it can do different things, and it's being able to. It's getting familiar with the paint and being able to adapt, and as the road corners, take the corners well. Yeah. You know what I mean? It comes down to intuition and feel after a while. It's not that you get good at it and don't think about it. It's that it's an interactive process. Yeah. So I can give you a numbered how-to guide, but there's a certain degree of interpretation of what's happening that you're gonna you'll figure out for yourself. So if this doesn't quite come out as you hope it will, don't panic. You've still got to. You've got the pants on. You need to figure out how to do the belt loop yet. Yeah,
it's the fundamentals of the technique.
Yeah,
that's the key.
I can show you the technique, but what I can't show you is how to then adapt that technique for your own way of doing things. That's the bit you'll learn after you've done this. This is the learn the technique bit. The next one is the how do I use those techniques bit. You cannot be shown the matrix.
Yeah, take the red pill or the blue.
Yeah. What are you up to? What are you doing?
Just putting on the second coat on the bottom, mate.
Ooh. He's coating his bottom for a second time.
I am painting my bottom.
I like it. It's always good to have a nice solid coat on your bottom. I like the word bottom. It's such a great word. It's such a...
Brilliant, isn't it?
It's such a polite word.
Yeah.
Because like you say ass and buttons, that's great, but it's like, but bottom is such a... like some body part names are like they're too childish and you can't really use them. Yeah. Like you can't say Willy because that's just stupid. That's a child. But bottom just sounds like... It just makes me think of Phyllis Kendall in a pleasant way, and it's one of those words.
Yeah. Bottom and buttock.
Well, maybe not buttock, because then I just think about the way Americans say buttock all the time. I don't know. But bottom. Bottom sounds very polite and charming. Bottom.
Yeah, we have a weird grip of language, don't we?
Wait, we have a grip of language? Grip of Stebson? What?
Yeah, I see what he did there.
Yeah. So with this second coat you're doing...
Yeah.
Every now and then, just try it taking it straight from the wet palette without thinning it a little bit, and see what you think, how you think it comes, how you think it goes on. If you think it's still too thick, carry on wet paletting it. See how
going on all right.
See if you can sense it feeling different between the.
Oh, you can feel the difference in thickness, yeah, because the brush gets a bit more draggy.
Yeah, that's what you start to feel. You see.
Yeah, and it's like, there's a bit too much paint on there because that piece is dragged a bit, whereas the bit before didn't. So
yeah, but that's when can you get that feeling, and then you think, right, well now I can.
Yeah.
When it's not as thin, you can smear it out and spread it out better, and that's when you can gently fluff the brush across the surface to smooth out the little ridges.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's like using it. It's almost like using a heavy sander to get the gouges out, and then using a fine grip just to smooth off.
That's just 2 coats so far.
Yeah. Let me put you full screen. Have a look. I'm really liking the fact that you're not pixely today. That's pretty mint. How's that looking for blocking? Is it still looking
blocking?
Is it nice and opaque, or is it still a little bit streaky, or?
No, it's getting there. The sides are still streaky, but they've only had 1 coat.
Yeah.
But no, that's getting there.
Yeah, looking good. I mean,
probably a waff of thin coat on top of that should be enough.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like I say, depending on the colour and how you apply it, you either, you might not need 3 coats, 2 coats might be enough.
Yeah.
Go until you're happy with the finish, and then stop.
Because we're basically going for an opaque, pretty much full coverage, but if there are the odd little bits...
Yeah, that doesn't matter, because...
Doesn't matter, but...
Because that just, if there's like you've still got... if you've still got some of the primer in the recessed areas, then that's fine. You've just got a panel shade there.
Well, that's it. I noticed with it on some of the weld lines where they're quite deep, you still have a bit of primer visible, but it actually gives a nice dark light contrast.
Yeah, but we're going to do wash and stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But we are, like I say, there will be a normal oil coat over this, so that's going to darken this down and change it completely. So.
I'm liking it.
I would say do be careful going over anywhere you've added. Well, I was going to say added rivets, but you didn't add any rivets, did you?
No.
I'm acutely aware that I could easily ping off some of my rivets.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
So I've got to be careful around them.
Yeah, no, I haven't got rivets. Didn't have them at the time.
Good lad. I must make some rivets for you and send them off.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this is as well, like the second and third coat, like I was saying, they take less time because, like the third coat, I'm just putting a bit of paint on, spreading it around a little bit, and that's kind of all I need. I'm not.
It's finding its own home where it's needed.
Yeah, I can spread a little bit of paint across the higher area because it's just really taking out the little bits rather than covering the whole thing. So there you go. Now what we need to do is actually figure out something to talk about that we can involve chatting. Because I've just realised all we've talked about is how to paint stuff. And it's like, we've got people watching.
Yeah.
Ask us questions, chat. Ask us questions and we'll do our best to get to the chat and read them.
Do you want to go through how they can win the Leman Russ?
Yeah. Okay. We are giving away, or rather I am giving away, because I dropped it on Festa without warning, so it's not fair. So I'm giving away a Games Workshop Leman Russ Demolisher, which is this kit. And you can build it as the Demolisher, which is rubbish because it's got a little chode gun. Or you can build it as this awesome Punisher that's got the dirty great big Gatling gun on the front, which is the best thing to do ever. RRP is 36 of your English pounds. And you can win it absolutely free. And the only requirement is that I fall out. Excellent. Let's go back. La 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 la.
That's him back yet.
That was well time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the first time in ages, isn't it?
Yeah, weird. But then again, on the other side, you see, I'm seeing you crystal clear, which is weird. So,
yeah.
If you look on these weapons here, I'm not having to do really a third coat on these because they're so good anyway. So yes, you can win the Leman Russ Demolisher kit, which can be built as the Punisher or the Demolisher. And all you need to do, there's only one requirement, and that is that you are in a territory that is supplied by Games Workshop. What do I mean by that? If you are able to go onto the Games Workshop website and place an order, and your address is recognised, and they ship to your country, then you can enter. Because all I'm going to do is, whoever wins, I will go onto the Games Workshop website, change my delivery country to your country, and have it delivered to your address as a gift. So, if you can normally order from a Games Workshop store, then you're good to go. If you go in and you find you can't place orders because you say, I'm sorry, we don't deliver to, North Korea or Antarctica or whatever, then unfortunately you're SOL. You can't take part because I can't send it. I'm not sending it from me. I'm literally ordering it for you from my Games Workshop account. So you need to be able to do that. So that's it basically. As long as you're able to do that, and all you need to do is remember to paint the underside of your turret. You idiot. All you need to do. We'll decide what it's going to be later, but it'll just be a case of put a comment on this video, on this live stream later on when it's finished, and it's a normal live stream. We'll ask you to put a comment on, and then what we'll do next week, we'll pick the winner, like we do on the eModels Monday show. We'll pick a winner next week.
Yeah,
and it's open to absolutely everyone. You don't have to be a patron or a member. You can be just a regular subscriber or viewer. It's open to everyone in the universe as long as you're
able to get stuff sent to you from Games Workshop in your region.
Yeah, in your region. That's exactly the way I was looking to say it, and all the words failed me. Don't worry too much about the exact centre of the turret and stuff, because again, you're not going to see that once it's in place. So
no,
don't worry too much. So yeah, and what we'll do that later. We'll do it before we finish the show. we'll let you know what you need to put on a comment. You can't put a comment on this till it's actually finished anyway, because that's how YouTube works. While it's a stream, you can't add a comment. Not in chat, I mean in just the normal comments.
Yeah.
So we'll go through that later. That's all you need to do. And you can win yourself Leman Russ Punisher.
Yeah, Leman Russ, folks. There you go.
And you can make it however you want. If you're Steve Monday, you can make it into a boat.
Yeah.
Steve Mundy, bless him, he received his E-Models prize, that like 65 quid's worth of...
Yeah. Has it gone in the greebles box, it?
Well, he said, it's like for those that don't know, he won on the E-Models Monday show, he won like a 70 quid SU-23 Sea Flanker or whatever it was, kit.
Yeah.
Which is like about 70 quid's worth of kit. And when he won, he was like, oh God, it's Steve that's won it. That's not going to get made, is it? No, it's gone into... He said, it's going to go into the greebles box. You know it is.
Good man.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't be Steve if it didn't.
No, I'm having trouble putting this back on the mount.
Oh, really? Having trouble mounting, do you?
Yeah. I can't mount properly, I'm not lined up. Well, it's difficult, because if I hold it the wrong way, I'll ping the base off the turret.
Yeah.
It's only a little bit of super glue holding it on, so... And these old clamps are quite firm. I might have to put it on the Poncy stupid Southern wine glass new one.
Don't you start with the anti-southern stuff, mister.
Except, look, it's too big. It won't even fit, because that's the big one. Oh, I don't know. Well, I'll do a couple more coats on this bottom first. I said bottom again. And I'll get the bottom bit done first before I put it back on the base. Fox, how to denub an arm? 3 hours of sanding later, you have a denubbed arm. Said Twisted Rail Hobbies. I believe it was from the mines at Cosgrove Hall for the same genius as Grot Bags and Doc Crocs round the bend. What was that? Gilbert. Ed the Duck, Gordon the Gopher, says Mark Shellard. Count Duckula and Roland Rat, says McLeish. Rat fiends.
Oh, you're going back now.
Kevin the Gerbil, says Jeff Light. Good God, there's going back.
Yeah.
Raging Modeler says, hello all, can't stay, just got back from my girlfriend's and on my way to go play Star Trek RPG at my friend's place. Thanks for coming in.
Hello, mate. Adam?
Adam. My brain went there. Right after him is Andy McLeish, and I was about to call him Andy. Thank you very much for coming in, Adam. Or as he's now known, Squat Guy.
Yeah.
Because in the 24/7 Zoom Hangout chat, he said he went to his local Warhammer store and got a freebie because he spent more, so it's not really a freebie. And Si Reynolds asked him if he got the free Squat Guy that you're getting at the moment, like a free giveaway. But the way he wrote it, I misread it, and I thought he said, did you get the free thing, Squat Guy? Yeah. And I thought, right, that's Adam's new nickname now. Jacaro Jim is currently the only person providing us with decent questions.
Good man.
Just prodding the rest of the chat there. Come on, do your job. Who says, which paint brand makes up most of your guys' collection?
Oh, gold.
All of them for Festa now.
Probably Citadel.
You think? What have you got in your collection then? What have you actually got?
I've got all the contrast paints, ain't I? Probably 40 bottles of the original Citadel stuff.
37 bottles of Null Oil, yeah, that's about right.
Got quite a bit of Tamiya.
Oh, yeah.
LPs as well as acrylics. And probably got about 100 bottles of Vallejos. So, yeah, probably Citadel at the moment, because obviously the whole contrast paint range is quite a few pots in it. So
yeah, you found yourself intrigued by that, didn't you? The contrast paint idea.
Yeah, I had a couple of bottles of it and started messing around with it and thought, oh, I could use this not just for the slap chop technique, but I can also use it and thin it down even more and use it more of a blend or a glaze. And so yeah, not just for Warhammer kits, but for a multitude. So having played with a few colours, I thought, sod it, I'll get them all. So
yeah, why not?
Me being me, I don't do things by half.
No,
do I?
You buy the. I'm surprised you haven't got an official Citadel shop paint rack, like with 7 of each colour in it, like you get in the actual Citadel in the Games Workshop stores.
If I had the room, I probably would have. But
yeah, I dread to think how. I don't even know how you get hold of one of those. You probably have to call them and.
Yeah. Someone somewhere will have one.
Yeah. Right, well, I think I'm about done with 3 coats. But I want you to carry on at the same speed you're carrying on. Don't feel pressured and rushed.
I think if I had the room, I would have a complete collection of it.
Yeah. Just to phone Citadel and say, right, Games Workshop, send me your retail rack that you have in your stores with all the paints in. Just probably like about 15 grand, but I don't care. Just do it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
My paint collection is not quite as extensive. I'd say most of my paints are... I don't know. I think I'm probably balanced between Citadel and Viejo. But I use Citadel all the time, and I very rarely use the Viejo. So I'm kind of balanced between the two. I do also have a whole mess of the Ammo by MIG paints, but I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't like them at all, so I don't use them almost. The only ones I use from the Ammo by MIG range are the crystal colours, the clears, like the reds and greens. They're really quite good.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the periscope green, which is fantastic for doing like 1980s green screen computer monitors. Things like that. Or things on the arms of Tempestus Sound is really good for that. Right, oh no, I've got to finish my turret yet. I haven't finished at all. You spoon.
Ah, see, getting ahead of yourself, was you?
No, you done 1 coat on its bottom. Bottom!
He said bottom.
You can't go wrong with a nice bottom.
Yeah, I mean, you've got quite a lot of the normal Citadel paints as well, haven't you? So you do have quite a large collection of it.
I don't see that. I don't think I've got that many. I mean, I've probably got like about... Knowing how many paints are actually in this Citadel range, about like 10% of them, but I've got a load of pots of them, but...
Yeah.
Whereas I've only got like 1 of the Viejo paints. But, yeah, I'd probably say Citadel's the most. This is the one I use all the time. I do have a very small... I used to have a massive collection of Tamiya paints, but I sent them on to someone else because I stopped using them when I started doing brush painting.
Yeah.
Because you can't brush paint Tamiya paints, so I stopped using those, and I was very rarely using them for... I've still got a few pots of Tamiya smoke.
Yes.
Because that may occasionally come in handy. I've still got the one Tamiya paint everybody must have. Well, the 2 are buff.
Oh, definitely.
And rubber black.
Yes.
I'll tell you for why. Buff is the best paint in the entire universe. If you want to add, and we're going to do it, well, we're not going to do it on this because it is an airbrush, but if you're doing something like this, especially if it's like a German grey type colour scheme, if you want to add that slight misty coating of dusty earth to the bottom of a vehicle, like on the tank or on the... Say you'd make it like an Opel Blitz. If you look at the Tamiya box art for the Opel Blitz truck and it's got that like dusty earth colour going up the mudguards, it's very subtle. Just airbrushing that very lightly over allows you to make this real nice dusty effect, especially on greys and greens. It looks really nice. And that's invaluable for that. I did that on the big Cesabe. The only dust and dirt I added to it was a layer of buff. And if you've got a model... Okay, here's the best thing, right? And I can give you an example. If you look at, in the news over the last few months, every time they show you a photograph of the German Gepard anti-aircraft tanks...
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a photograph of some of the HIMARS missile systems. But most especially the German Gepard anti-aircraft systems, if you look at them, they're all green and black in the camo scheme, but they have this slight dustiness to them, like a yellowy dust effect to them.
Yeah.
Just because they're not exactly clean, but they're not covered in mud and dirt. And that can be reproduced absolutely with Tamiya buff. All you do is you paint your model in its nice green and black camouflage green, or whatever you do. And then what you do is you airbrush the whole model from top to bottom with the thinnest, lightest coat of dust, of buff. And then at the bottom of the vehicle, you can build it up a bit more where the dust will build up. And you can build it up slowly like a glaze. And that gives you that slightly dusty look without using pigments. Yeah. And that is, I bet, because I've been looking at the news, and you see like especially the photographs of the German black, brown, and green camouflage scheme. Yeah. And the vehicles are all nice and clean, but they have that slight dusty feel to them. Like you can see the dust. Yeah. And it's like that's just Tamiya buff sprayed on.
Yeah.
And bizarrely, if you look at the Revell like models of like the German tanks and things, they kind of do that effect on there. Even though the paintwork on the model's terrible because it's Revell box artists and they've got no talent, they do at least airbrush over a little thing of buff, and basically it just kicks down the contrast of all your colours and gives it a slightly dusty look, and it's brilliant. So buff is absolutely, and rubber black is perfect for doing pre-shading lines if you're doing pre-shading with an airbrush and you want to do the sort of panel lines in darker colour. Everyone should have buff. McLeish says, if you have any paints that need a new home, cough, cough, I know someone. Yeah. And Panzer Cat says, the MIG ammo paints require the care to use no different from your run-of-the-mill acrylic. I know what the situation is with ammo by MIG. And they're good paints, don't get me wrong. They're good paints, but I'm afraid if you give me a paint that I can airbrush on by put it in the airbrush, add a bit of thinner, slap it on like a Tamiya, or that I can brush on by put it on my wet palette, get it on the brush, slap it on, I'm happy. If you then give me a paint that I have to basically thin to the exact relevant consistency that has to be exactly right, and then I have to spray it in exactly the right way to exactly the right layer of thickness, and I can't get too much in any area, and then if I get it slightly wrong it's messed up. No, that's too much thinking. I need to get the paint out, get it on.
Yeah, they've overcomplicated a simple process.
Yeah, they've taken a simple, like all acrylic paints are simple to apply apart from Ammo by MIG, which is just, they're not beginner friendly for a start. Yeah. And that's why the forums, when the paints first came out, everybody on the forum saying these paints are rubbish, it's all orange peel, it's terrible. Yeah. And Ammo had to come out and say, no, you're actually doing it wrong. And it's like, well, you shouldn't make a paint that applies differently to every other acrylic paint and then call it an acrylic paint.
This is it. Everyone has spent years honing their technique, and you come and bring a paint out that
requires special nonsense. Yeah. I mean, they are fine paints, but they have to be done in exactly the right way, and that to me is a big turn off. It's the same thing with like Vallejo primers. I want the primer I want to get it in the airbrush and spray it on. That's it. And I expect it to grip, stick, and sand and fill. Yeah. If you give me a primer that I have to get in exactly the right thinning ratio, and it's got to be exactly right at the right pressure, and I have to do it at the right thickness, and if I get it wrong, no, that's far too much thinking. It's far too much thinking. You take the UMP primer or the Steinal res, it's literally in the airbrush, blap it on, done. You can't mess it up. If you mess it up, you're the world's biggest colossal idiot. I love it. That's perfect. That's what I want. To me, it's all about being beginner friendly, because I prefer things that are beginner friendly. Not because I'm a beginner, but because I'm lazy. Yeah. And if something's beginner friendly, it means you can't mess it up and it's easy to do. So yeah, ammo paints for me, they're too demanding, like you say. Yeah,
it's like he's invented a paint that only he can use.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can use ammo paints. Both Colin and I have got the skills to use an airbrush to put those paints on a model and not have it mess up, because we know what the paints need. But it's the fact that I have to go that extra mile to do that, when I can take a Tamiya lacquer, which is not, it's not an acrylic, it's a lacquer, or I can even thin a Citadel paint, or I can take a Vallejo paint and put it in my airbrush, get it to a milky thickness, done. It's a lot easier. Right, I think I am done with the coating. How are you getting on with yours?
I'm just doing the butt arse end of the turret, mate.
The butt arse end?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm done. It's not exactly... Actually, hang on. There's a few little lumpy bits there. Little streaky bits. For some reason, the sponsons don't want to take a paint of coat very well. A coat of paint.
Yeah, I had to do 4 coats on mine in the end.
Yeah, I don't know why the sponsons are being particularly arsey, but...
Yeah, they did... they were a challenge.
Yes, they'll learn.
I found I had to thicken it up a little bit for the sponsons.
Yeah, I'm going in with a pure, straight from the wet palette.
Yeah.
I have, of course, managed to get a hair in one of my paint layers. Fantastic.
Oh, good man.
And I have just done that thing where you get a little bubble of paint and you brush over it and you pop the bubble so you get a little ring. But what we'll do is we'll make that a rust chip later on. So there you go.
It can always be a ricocheted bullet, couldn't it?
Yeah, or a dirty great big rust chip. But I have managed to get hair out. I'll pull the hair out now. I think it's one of the fibres. Now, I've not got a perfect paint layer. It's not, there are some lumps and bumps in there. Especially on the sponsons. For some reason, they've not taken the paint well at all. I don't know if people will see on camera. I'm happy to show that it's come out a bit lumpy. You won't really see on camera, but there's a bit of a texture there.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can see it.
Yeah,
and there's a couple of places where it's like that, and it's just sometimes that happens. It's not the end of the world.
It's added character.
Well, the thing is, it's not the end of the world because we're going to shade and dry brush it anyway. But if you really weren't happy with it, you could very gently sand that.
Yeah.
Just enough to knock the little ridges off, and you wouldn't take the paint off. So if you do this, and you do get a little bit where it's a bit rough and lumpy. I mean, you'll see there, that's nice and flat now. It's flat enough that any little lumps and bumps will disappear. But it's always the sponsons. Every Leman Russ I've done, the sponsons have been a pain in the bum. I don't know why.
That's a bit strange then, isn't it? Have you painted guns? Have you done the same with the guns, have you?
Yeah, the guns, I've just painted them pretty much just grey all the way. For the sponson weapons and for the front mounted ones.
Yeah. Have you done your hatch?
I've done my hatch. Have you got any pintle? I've not done me. Have I done my spotlights? Yeah. Have you got any pintle mounted weapons? I can't remember what else you added.
What's a pintle mounted weapon?
The gun that's on the hatch on the turret.
Oh right, yeah. No, that's the only one I've got.
Okay.
I've not painted it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is. If it's a gun with a casing or if it's just a heavy stubber.
I don't know what you
heavy
call
stubbers
that,
like heavy stubbers like the long thin machine gun like an MG42.
Yeah, no, that's just a short stubby thing.
All right, that's probably a bolter then, isn't it? So yeah, you can paint that. You might as well paint that grey because it's going to have a grey casing on it.
Okay, mate.
May as well.
Yeah, I'm just painting me a hatch, and that because I'd forgotten because
I need to get some more paint in my stowage bin that I built because it's still not taking paint in there for some reason. It's being devious. It's would you believe it's 20 to 7?
You're joking.
No, and all we've done is got the base coat down.
Holy sugar!
I know.
Clean that up, didn't I?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
So I don't even think we'll get the next step done, which is just maybe null oiling. I think maybe. What do you reckon? Or if you need to take a break,
go for it.
We can call it a show if you're struggling with
No, I'll stand up in a minute though.
Okay.
But no, we can carry on, mate.
Well, it's null oil next anyway, so.
Yeah.
Didn't realise it was like 20 to 7. God, blimey.
That's gone quick, innit?
I know.
We got a bit of that. Who do you have? Guns? Guns, innit?
Guns out for the boys. Do 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 do.
So how long did you have Tiny Tim going in your head then when you went to bed after Friday's show?
What you mean? That's just come back in now?
Yeah, I just thought I would sow that seed again.
Well, it was once we finished, it was fine because I could go and listen to music.
Yeah.
I had my dinner and watched an episode of DS9, and therefore that removed it straight away.
Ah, there you go.
I do happen to have the DS9 soundtrack as well, which you have as well, I must say. I sent it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it Intendant Kira time?
No, it was the one where Vedek Baral. Spoilers. Something happens to Vedek Baral. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I need to revisit Intendant Kira just to recap where I got to on DS9 because it's been a while.
The next one on my playlist is the one where she gets trapped in the stone. Yeah. I don't really want to watch that one because it's a bit boring.
Yeah, it's purely research purposes.
Yes. Oh, stretching. Oh, that was a nice stretch, that. Frankie's off. Guys,
See you later, Frankie.
my lower back pain kills me again, so I'm off. Bye, everyone, and have a good time. I do apologise if we've not been responding to your comments, by the way, everybody. Let's have a look.
Right,
Jukero Jim.
that.
Jukero Jim says, my only problem with Citadel is the paint pot. I wish Games Workshop will change them into dropper bottles. The pots are actually... Go on.
Go on. No, it's all right, mate.
No, go on. No, you go.
I was going to say, he could always get himself a job lot of dropper bottles and transfer them out.
Yeah, you can transfer them. Like, you can buy 100 dropper bottles for like £5 on Amazon. But you just got to go through all the hassle. I find them actually fine for brush painting, as long as I'm not airbrushing. It's when the airbrushing that it becomes a bit of a pain in the bum. Because what I'll do then is, when I'm airbrushing, I tend to just, I've got like some paper cups or something, and I just transfer all the paint into the paper cup and mix in my thinner, and then I transfer that into dropper bottles for airbrushing. But I kind of get on with the pots. This is handy for dry brushing, because you can open your pot, get your paint, close your pot. If you've got a dropper bottle, you have to put paint on the palette, get your paint on the brush, do your dry brushing, and it's dried out. So you do waste less paint if you're dry brushing, and this is going to be a dry brushing heavy thing. So
the annoying thing I find with them is that big build up of paint you get, and for me, you do seem to waste a lot of paint every time you descuzz the bottle. You're like,
Yeah, I mean, discussing the bottle can be very, very relaxing, but I don't wish I didn't have to do
It's
it.
a bit like peeling PVA, isn't it? It is one of those therapeutic things of.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't mind them so much because I mostly brush paint, but yeah, they are a pain if you're airbrushing. And if I'm using a wet palette for small details, it would be nice just to be able to do a few drops, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen where we are. Paul Di Tommaso has the AK acrylic rubber black. It works great.
Good man.
Rubber
Paul.
black. Go on.
Yeah, have you had the email yet, mate, about the pre-release of the Elegoo Saturn II and the Elegoo Jupiter? Pre-orders are being taken, mate. There you go.
I have no understanding of any of that.
Yeah, resin 3D printers.
Yeah, rubber black's one of those colours. It's a bit like a very dark Escape from Black Dinge. It's an off black. It's a bit like Citadel's Corvus black. The reason it's really good for airbrushing for pre-shading is it's not solid black. So if you've got, say you primed, like my Millennium Falcon, I primed it in white or very light grey, and I went around all the panel lines with rubber black, so that when I put the whole colour over it, it was enough to add a shadow around the panel lines, but not so stark like black paint. Then it was really obvious. So it's a nice off black for pre-shading panel lines and things. Let's have a look. I've seen a few people who love the newest range of AK interactive paints, but have not tried them, says Phil East. Jacaro, I totally agree, says Jeff to Jacaro. The trick is to add a couple of drops of Mr. Colour self-levelling thinner to it and mist coats, says Panzer, about the ammo paints. I mean, most acrylics you have to add some thinner to them to airbrush anyway. But ammo's got that extra level of fussing around with stuff. You've got to get it exactly right.
Yeah.
And especially if you're not an expert at airbrushing, if you're a newbie.
That's the thing, you know, and it's a bit like where we do video content for the channels. You want to impart to the viewer how easy it is to mix the paint, whereas if you're doing something where the paint's a bit problematic.
I mean, I feel sorry for anybody who's just getting into airbrushing and starts trying to learn with ammo paints, because not only have you got the learning curve of how to airbrush, you've also got the learning curve of how to airbrush with the most fussy paints unimaginable. I can't get this thing back on the...
What's that, mate?
Still can't get this back on its base yet. Come on now.
You're putting the turret on the clampy thing, isn't you?
But I can't grab it too harsh because I'll snap it off the base, which will be annoying. I'll get back to chat in a second. Hang on. Come on now. I don't want to drop it as well because I'll snap the searchlight off. Right, I think we're there. I've already dropped this once and pinged a... There we go. Pinged a searchlight off. That was fun.
Yeah, there you go. It's on there.
Frustration.
He has an inner determination to get this right.
I have an inner determination to get it on and not actually break it. See if I can do it without putting the... It's because you have to put so much force to pull these apart.
Yeah.
But I've also got to try and hold this in my other hand at the same time, and I can't quite do that when I've got only one in my hand available.
I just stuck my clamp onto onto the lugs of the turret poking out.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but I put it on a base instead. Just temporarily. So I could get to the underneath. Right, there we go. Right, so that's back on there. Where are we up to? Philly says, anybody know where I can get some 148 scale emergency service vehicles? I don't need to be high detail as they offer a diorama. No
Mini
idea.
art, probably, in it, somewhere like that.
It depends if you mean modern day. Are we talking modern day or wartime or?
I don't know, mate. Yeah.
No, I'd just say Google and look at your regular stockists. Drop messages to whoever you normally get your kits from, like your models and other guys. Say, can you think of any? I can't think of any though. I mean, I know you get things like fire trucks, but in 148th,
Yeah,
So
that's a tough old scale, isn't it?
the difficulty is that 148th is an aircraft scale.
Yeah.
Primarily, you can get some. Tamiya do lots of 148 scale vehicles, but they tend to be like World War II. And they're things like fuel trucks at field ambulances, but World War II ones. So they do 148 scale vehicles to go with their 148 scale planes, but it's not a common vehicle scale, that. Anything reasonably modern or even futuristic will be fine, Panzer, says Phil. Paul says, no, I have not. No chance of upgrading my resin printer anytime soon.
Yeah.
Panzer suggests he takes a look at the diecast market for modern stuff, but I'm afraid they won't be cheap for the vehicles.
That's the trouble at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, Richard Thomas Scale Model World says, good evening, guys and gals. Good evening.
Hello, Richard.
Goodly evening, Barps. Right, how are you doing with yours now? Are you done now?
Yeah, I'm done now, mate. I am just moving my wet palette. Getting my oil of the knoll out.
Yes. Now, what we need to do now is get a good normal cap. So what I'd suggest is that we give it a quick blast of a hairdryer just to catch any last bits. Like I've got a couple of little sticky bits in there in that recess. Just to make sure it's fully dry.
You keep your sticky bits to yourself, mister.
Yes. Now I'll mute my microphone when I do mine because it's quite a lot. I don't know if yours is quite a quiet hairdryer.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, mine's. Yeah, that is a hairdryer, folks. I just want to clarify that.
It's not a lady's. Yes, I'd be impressed if it were. The lady would be impressive if that was what I thought it was. You get a sofa in there. Right, so I'm going to go and quickly hairdryer that. I'll turn my microphone off for a minute, just for a second.
Yeah, you mute your microphone. I'll do a bit of chat, darling, and then when you come back, I'll do mine. There you go. Because don't want to not chat to people. What else have we got going on there? Plastic Alchemist is in, saying evening all. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing all right. What else there? Yeah, the 48 scale stuff. Yeah, I mean, you could find someone like Zveds that might do it. Plastic Alchemist says, what have I come for? This is, we're painting the Leman Russes, mate. And there's a chance to win one of these. We'll be going through it as we wrap up the show. Telling you how you get an opportunity to get one of these or win one because it's the 200th show today. What else have we got? Philly says, I've seen a few people that have the newest range or love the newest range of AK Interactive, but I've not tried them. No, there's something I've not tried. Yeah.
There you go, all done.
Philly says, Jesus, Cole, looking at that monstrosity, no wonder you need to stand up now. I mean, well, you know. Yeah. No, it is a hairdryer, mate, honest.
You do know it's not for oral use, don't you?
Yeah, I'm just going to mute my mic, mate.
Yep. Oh, cool. Congratulations, guys, says Plastic Alchemist. What have I came for? Yes. I don't know what Colin's just said. But yes, we are doing a giveaway today. So stick around to the end. And we'll tell you what we want to do. Basically, you're going to have to leave a comment on the video, and we're going to be giving away one of these kits of the Leman Russ Demolisher / Punisher. RRP 36 of your European English space pounds. 3,600 pence. No, 30,000. A lot of pence. We give one away. To do with as you please. The only requirement for anybody who joined us since we last mentioned it, the only requirement for the giveaway is that you have to be in a territory that Games Workshop can actually ship to. So if normally you're able to go on the Games Workshop website and place an order and they ship it to you, that's fine. If you live in North Korea or Iran, or you live in like I don't know, Antarctica or somewhere they can't ship to, then you can't enter, because I'm going to go onto the Games Workshop website and place an order with your name and address on it from my account. So you need to be able to receive orders from Games Workshop. So it won't cost you anything, obviously, but you need to do that. That way it's free shipping. It doesn't cost any money, and it's guaranteed to get to you. So yes. Now, these were in stock when I looked earlier on today. The bog standard Leman Russ kits are out of stock online, but the Demolisher / Punisher was in stock, so hopefully it still is. It'd be just my luck they've been a run, wouldn't it? Okay. So anyway, you can see now, hopefully, that mine is looking nice and grey. The idea is that we've both got these nice smooth paint coats now, and this is the base layer that we're going to build upon. It doesn't matter that we've covered up the primer coat completely, because we're not doing airbrush, we can't do pre-shading, so we're going to do post-shading. All good?
Yeah, all good, mate.
Yay. Dare I ask, but what is Festa using? It looks like it might vibrate, says Shellard.
No, it's genuinely an hairdryer, mate, honestly.
Why would they make a hairdryer that shape? I don't understand.
Why, it's one of those Dyson-y type cyclonic things. And
Oh, I suppose it's also, it can. I love the fact it's got a magnet.
yeah,
I guess it's also it's smaller in your package, in your suitcase as well.
So yeah, it actually really is a good hairdryer.
Yeah. How did you manage to get it away from the missus?
She did laugh at it when she first saw it. She said, "Okay, did you go to a shop to buy that?" I said, "No, I got it online." She said, "Good. I would have paid money to see you go into a shop and buy an hairdryer."
Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah. Right.
It comes in handy.
Who's Andy? Yeah, right. Are we ready for the next step?
Yeah, I am just velcroing up my cable.
Oh, lovely. You get yourself sorted. Do you want to stand up for 10 minutes or walk around a bit before we get going?
I am stood up, mate. I've been stood up for a little while.
Good girl. Quick look at chat while you're doing that. Raging Modeler says, Fox, if I win, you know what's going to happen.
Oh, what's that? What's that? Tell me.
He'll turn it into orc stuff. He'll make it an orc, a reclaimed orc tank.
Good man.
He also says his paints are mostly Games Workshop, follow Vallejo.
Nice.
So no jumping the gun and shouting out the answer. Rottle and Emu. Jeff says a Leman Russ tank for the giveaway. Cool. Thank you very much. Phil East is watching. After he was watching Arsenal get pumped. Should never have left to watch it. Nookie the Bear says Shallard. Oh God.
Oh God, the world's worst ventriloquist, wasn't it?
Yeah. Jeff says an update on the Artemis rocket. The externally applied insulation looked enough like. Hang on, we'll start again. The Artemis rocket's externally applied insulation looked enough like wood that the live stream commentators had to assure viewers that it was not, in fact, real wood.
There it is.
Jacaro says, is the new Nuln oil good? McLeish says, no, 85% say it's guff. I haven't used the new stuff yet.
No, they thinned it down, didn't they?
Yeah, it's more like a contrast paint now, but it works the same way. From what I've seen, it both that and Agrax Earthshade, they work the same way. They're just not quite as dark. They don't make everything quite as dark. They don't tint the surface as much.
And don't you only get it in wee little bottles now as well?
Don't know, I think it might still be the same size, but we're using old. Well, I am. I don't know if I assume you are.
Yes, the old.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
You have to shake the devil out of it. Yeah. Always make sure the lid's on properly before you do that, but otherwise you end up covered in it. I've done that so many times. McLeish says, slap Shellard, you Burke. Jacaro asks, what's your favourite Horus Heresy book? I have not yet read any Black Library books at all. I haven't read any of them. Now, Festa's actually got a Black Library book.
Have I?
Yeah, I sent you one for your birthday.
Oh, of course I have, yeah. What am I on about? Yeah, it's just there.
Yep, Festa's got an orc one. I've actually got Warlord Fury. I've got Warlord Fury of the God Machine. It's a book about Titans, but unfortunately it's propping my monitor up right now and I haven't read it yet.
Let's try to knock everything over, Cole. There it is.
Brutal canning.
You all canning.
Supposed to be really good, that. But I've not read any Warhammer fiction. The new stuff goes on thicker, but it stains less and settles more in recesses, says Phyllis. It's more like a contrast paint. No. Oh well. Just do like 2 coats. I beg your pardon? Was that you? Was that you or a motorbike going past?
No, that's my stirrer, isn't it?
Oh, right. I thought it was a motorbike going past.
Yeah, look, over there next to the orange bottle.
Oh, yeah. Get you with your devices, your vibrating devices.
H got me that because she got fed up with me keep saying, somewhere in here is a bottle of paint.
Right, I'm going to swap round. I'm going to take my little grippy thing off the turret and put it underneath. La 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 la. Now you've noticed we've not primed or painted that bit of the turret, but it doesn't matter because you're never going to see that. And if you did paint and prime that bit, or prime and paint it, the paint would all come off anyway as soon as you put the turret on there. So I shall put the little grippy thing in the bottom.
I painted mine.
That's alright, don't matter. I just saved myself a hassle.
What am I going to do?
Oh no, the world's over here. Right, so there we go. So all we're going to do is basically, what would Ted do, Cole?
Slap it on.
Exactly. Get yourself a big ass brush. Doesn't matter what brush. I've got another one of these big ass brushes spare. Maybe not that big.
Just screwing me doobrey back on.
Don't wish to know, thank you very much. What you do in your spare time, young lady?
What big ass brush you got? Show me.
I'm trying to find one actually. I've got a big ass shade brush, but it's probably a bit too big.
Oh, nice.
It's nice and floofy.
I've got some of them.
Yeah, that little one on the left will do.
That one.
I've got a dry brush, that'll do. Now there is no skill to this. You'd be glad to know.
Yeah, I've still got the medium dry brush. If you think that's better.
Whichever you prefer. The shades are quite harsh to nice brushes, so don't use a nice brush for it.
Okay, I'll use my what's his name then?
For what we're going to be doing here, you don't want to use a nice brush. Okay, so quite simply, what would Ted do?
Slap it on.
There you go.
I've
That's
already
it.
done that.
Yeah, you know how to do shades. All we're doing, getting the shade on the brush. This is Null Oil. Get it on there, and just make sure it doesn't pool up in any corners.
Yeah.
Just spread it around.
Basically, keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving. Make sure it's a nice even coat. It will dry lumpy and with like coffee stains and stuff. Don't worry about that. Just make sure it doesn't pool. Spread it out. Get as much out of each brushful as you can, straight from the pot. Go slowly. If you get pooling, just move it around. You know what to do with shades. And keep an eye on...
I see what you mean, though. Straight away, you can see what it's doing.
But keep an eye on your under areas, like under the sponsons and under the bottom of the tap, because it will pool up under there. It doesn't really matter, but just because we're going to
wick it back up with the edge of your brush.
Yeah, not because it'll look horrible with a big black blurb, because we're going to dry brush over it, but because it'll make a lump of shade. And if you get a lump of shade, that's a physical lump, and it's impossible to get rid of without making a right mess. And all we're doing here, because we didn't airbrush and we couldn't do pre-shading, this is the first step of post-shading. So if you've not done airbrushing before, pre-shading is where you do a dark paint like rubber black, and you apply it over the primer coat to all the recesses and the panel edges and stuff, so that when you put your main colour over the top, you can have some of that showing through like a shadow.
Yeah.
And it gives you a sort of three-dimensional thing. We can't do that because we've not used an airbrush. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply this shade. This will darken everything. It'll settle in the recesses and darken those down. It'll darken the paint down generally anyway. But then once this is dried, what we'll do next week is we'll start the process of post-shading, which is, instead of doing the shadows first and then applying the paint over the top, which you do in airbrush, we're doing the paint first and then applying the highlights over the top.
Yeah.
It's the reverse of pre-shading. We can't do shadows and then paint. We have to do paint and then highlights. So we're changing the colour on the model now to be the darkest shadow version of the grey. Essentially what we're doing. And we're getting it on the recesses at the same time. You could skip this step if you didn't want to do it and still do all the highlights, but you wouldn't have all the shade in the recesses, so it doesn't need to be neat. Doesn't matter if it's a bit patchy and you've got like some dark areas and light areas. As long as it's on there, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
As long as it's reasonably even and it's not pulled up, that's all that matters. Check all your recesses and stuff. But I've never really thought about doing post shading before until I did. What was it that I did? I think I did my Imperial Night, the first Imperial Night I did, and I'm like, well, I'm not airbrushing it because I was painting it in the garden on a hot summer's day, and it's like, how am I going to do the shading? I was like, well, can I do it backwards? So I do the highlights.
Yeah.
I didn't invent it. I just never seen anybody else do it. So. Oh. But this is the fun bit because it's like giving a kid crayons. Just, there you go, slap it on. Yeah. Now, if you're doing this on your mum's kitchen table, make sure you put paper down because this is going to go everywhere. I've got my painting mat down, so yeah, don't do this on your kitchen table. Otherwise, your mum / missus or / better half may not be very happy with you. And make sure it's a bit of paper on, because the thing is as well, when you're getting this out of the pot, it will spray everywhere from the brush, so
yeah,
make sure you cover a lot of the table with paper, not just the bit you're painting over. It does tend to go everywhere from the brush sprinkle. Brush sprinkle. How are you getting on there, Spud?
All right, mate.
It's not hard, is it, this bit?
No.
Not much thinking required. But the trick with shades is once you get it on there and you've got it nice and level, don't go back and fiddle with it.
No.
Because it's a bit like contrast paints. It won't mess up too much, but once it starts to skin over, if you brush it, you'll rip the skin and you'll get this big tear and you'll get a real obvious like coffee stain. So once you fettle with it for a little bit, wick your lumpy bits away, just leave it. Don't go back and fuss with it too much. You've got a good few minutes to fettle with it, but once it's on there, if you want to get a streaking effect, you could flip your brush like that and get like vertical streaks. But we're not worried about that. Okay, well, I'm not going to do the bottom of the tank yet. I'll do that when the top bit's dried a bit.
I shall do the top and the sides.
Yeah, because if I turn this over, gravity's going to make everything move up to the top. So I'm going to leave that for the moment, and I'll do the turret. And the reason we're doing this now, and I'll shake my shade because they do settle out. The reason we're doing this now, and that we haven't painted things like the weapons or the sandbags or any of the accoutrements that we've put on the tank. I just said accoutrement.
I know, I'm so pressed.
I know. The reason we're doing this now is because after this, like I said, is all the dry brushing for the grey colour. So there's no point in painting all the little detail bits because all we'll do is cover them up with the dry brushing for the grey. So
it's almost defeating the object, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, if you're doing this post shading effect, get the base colour down.
Jacero Jim. A super chat there, mate.
Oh yeah, $2 super chat from Jacero Jim. Enjoying the stream. Thanks for showing the book. Thank you very much, Jacero. That's very kind of you. Big hugs to you. You're very, very kind. The reason we're doing this now, if you're doing this kind of thing where you're going to do dry brush post shading, just get the base colour done first and do all your dry brushing, and then start doing all the other stuff. Like me painting my Space Marines, I've got the grey base coat, I did an Angrak Circe wash, and now I'm doing all the dry brushing for the highlights. Later, I'll go back and do all the belts and weapons and trim and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can't, when you're dry brushing, you've got to just get the brush going. You can't be worrying about not getting dry brushing on other bits. So you kind of have to plan a little bit carefully when you're doing this kind of stuff. Yes, thank you,
Plan us too.
Well, yeah, I said a little bit. Within reason and the limitations of the idiot doing the work.
Yeah.
But you'll see that I painted the las rifle on the side of the turret grey already. Well, that's because the casing on that's going to be grey, so I may as well get that down now and shaded. Later, I'll go back and add all the metal bits.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if there was like a heavy stubber on my turret, there's no point in doing that because that's all going to be metal colours. It's not going to be the grey colour. There's no casing on it, so I wouldn't have painted that. I would have left that. I've not done anything with the figure because he's going to be different colours. So it doesn't matter if I get any dry brushing on the figure because he's going to be painted over. I've not painted on the lenses of the spotlight because that'll just fill in the little recesses, so we'll keep them clean.
Oh yeah, we've got them to come as well, won't we? The spotlights. Oh, that'll be fun.
That's a lesson in itself, that.
Yeah.
And I'm guaranteeing you now, when I show you how I do the lenses, I'll probably screw it up. Because it's one of those things that I have to sit there with tongue sticking out and concentrate really hard. So trying to do it on... No, it's not because it's hard, but because it's small and fiddly and I'm old and I've got rubbish eyesight.
Yeah.
So to do it on camera on a live stream, yeah, we're going to struggle a bit. But
yeah, it's going to be a challenge, isn't it?
Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it comes out looking bad though, because it's just showing you the method. It doesn't matter how it.
Can always repaint it off air, can't we?
Yeah, that's not going to happen though, is it? So I'm putting the shade on me Pintle on me Sponson weapons again because they've got grey casings. All the brass and bronze and metal bits they'll be painted separately, but I'll just get the shade on there, making sure it's not pooling up. The thing with these shades is they are quite thick, so if they do pool up, they can fill in any recessed detail. And when you see Duncan going on about, like, you know, obscuring the detail and stuff, that's what he means. You've got to make sure they don't pile up too much. Yeah. You'll either get a bulb of the wash in a corner, and that you can't get it off. It looks horrible. You have to carve it off, so be careful. And if you're doing this kind of big, overall, messy shading, don't use your nicest brushes. Because the shade is quite harsh on brushes. If you're doing little detail shades or reset and you're using a nice fine brush, that's fine because you're not dipping the brush in and getting it covered in it. But if you're doing this kind of big dink the brush in and just get a load of it on the brush, then yeah, use your older brushes for this. Right, I've done mine. I just need to do the underside of the tank when it's dried a bit, so that'll be a good 40 minutes or so. So shall leave that to dry. I won't touch it because that'll get a fingerprint. Hooray!
Yeah, let it dry naturally, eh?
I'll make sure I've got no pooling going on. Got a little bit. I've got some kind of weirdness on the top of one of my sponsons. It's got like a. I forgot to take that hair out, didn't I? I've got some pooling going at the bottom of the tracks, the track units, and it's on the cusp of not being adjustable anymore. But I'll adjust it anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's not the end of the world. Like I say, we're going to be dry brushing over all this anyway, so...
Well, we've got rust and detritus and all of that lot to do.
If you do end up with like a bit where you touch the brush to it and it makes that coffee ring, you get like there, I've got that physical coffee ring. I don't know if you can see on camera, on the corner of that sponsor. Yeah. If you get one sometimes where it's actually got a physical height to it, doesn't matter too much here because we're going to be doing chipping, so... Yeah. I've had it before, I've got a physical little ridge, and I'm like, okay, I'll just make that a massive paint chip. There you go, done. But most of this is going to be hidden by dry brushing, so it's more about the colour than anything else. Right, there we go, we shall leave that to dry. I'll do the under areas later, bottom. I shall brush my bottom in private later off camera.
Yeah. Totally understand that because it's quite awkward at the moment.
Well, it's more just if I turn it upside down and brush it, then either going to get shade pooling on the top because it's upside down, or on the bottom when I put it right way up. So what I'll do is I'll let the top bit dry. Use gravity, which I'll let the top bit dry, turn it over, shade that, and then I can leave that upside down so it won't.
Yeah.
EC Idaho says, hello all, hi Colin and hi Colon and Fox.
Hello EC, how you doing, buddy?
Jeff Light says, I'm back again, we'll have to watch on the rerun. Bless him.
Oh, bless you.
He's struggling.
Internet woes, mate.
Yes. How are you getting on there, Spud?
I'm
going to put you full screen so people can watch you doing your thing.
There you go.
You've just finished, haven't you?
I have.
Curses.
There you go.
There you go. How's that looking to you?
All right, mate. Let's pick that up a sec. Getting there. Nice and dark.
Yeah. It should basically take your grey and make it a slightly more a slightly warmer, darker, mushroomy grey, really.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Keep in mind we're both on webcams, and webcams really mess up the colour balance. So.
Yeah, it probably looks a lot darker on the screen than it is. But...
Yeah, it looks black, but I know it's not. It's like a, it's like a very dark. It's almost like a sort of coaly colour, isn't it?
Yeah, so
a very dark grey. But I've done the same on mine. So the next step after we do that now will be to start bringing back the highlights, which is where all the dry brushing comes in, and that's little tiny dry brushing in circles. But we're not going to do that today because we need to let this dry.
It's come along well, mate.
Yeah, you've done really well so far. How was your paint finish? Was it nice and smooth?
Yeah.
Did you get a nice
actually smoother? It was smoother than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. The streaky Nuln oil doesn't do it any justice.
No.
But yeah, it is proper smooth. What I'll do is I'll take some pictures of it and send them over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, then once the Nuln oil goes on, it'll look like streaky shit and it will look terrible. So you'll lose all the bragging rights about it being nice and smooth.
Yeah, it was like, oh, look, that looked really smooth. And then the Nuln oil was gone on
like,
and it's like, oh, it looks like arse. But yeah, I know.
Yeah, you don't take a picture and it'll look the same as mine. But what we'll be doing next week is bringing back the highlights. Nuln oil, oiled nunnery, says Annie McLeish. Next, the Scots funeral dirge returns. So next week we're going to be doing the highlights. And for this, what we're going to do, just very quickly, we started off with Skaven Black Dinge. We've now darkened that down with Nuln oil. Now what you could do is come back with Skaven Black Dinge and do all the highlight areas and go from there. But we're not going to do that, because that's adding an extra layer we don't need. We're going to come in with Mechanicus. Well, we've got a choice. We're going to do a two-step highlight process. We're going to have, you've got Skaven Black Dinge. Oh, next door's making curry and all I can smell is all the lovely garlic smells. It's driving me nuts.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's really nice. I just imagine this. It smells like, savoury rice.
Yeah.
Imagine there's like a barrel of savoury rice right under my nose and I can't smell anything but and it's coming from next door and it's so nice and I'm really hungry. Oh, it's distracting me. Yeah, we've got Skaven Black Dinge as the base. We've darkened it down. We're going to have two more steps. We're going to have a medium. That's the dark tone. We're going to have a medium colour, and then we'll have the light highlight colour. Now for the light highlight colour, we're going to use Dawnstone.
Yes.
But for the medium colour, we've got a choice because. We've got either Mechanicus Standard Grey,
right,
or we've got Storm Vermin Fur. Now the only difference is Mechanicus Standard Grey is a colder, bluer grey.
Yeah.
And Storm Vermin Fur is a slightly warmer, more mushroomy, taupey kind of grey.
That's it. Yeah.
But they're about the same kind of darkness. They're just slightly different.
Yeah.
Now Mechanicus Standard Grey is what I used on my Tauros Prime.
What do you fancy?
Well, we'll have a think about that, won't we? We'll decide next week. Yeah. So we might go for a warm one or a dark one. I don't know. We shall find out.
Whatever, mate. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll see what tickles our fancy. Yeah. I don't know if Storm Vermin Fur will work as a highlight, as a medium highlight. It might do. We'll try a panel and see what happens.
I always try the underside of the turret.
Well, what I tend to do is try the underside under the tank because that gets covered up in dust anyway. So that's our test area.
That's good shit.
Yeah. Always underside of tanks. Andy McLeish says Buse Powerberg.
Ooh.
Jeff Light says your streams are really floating my boat for building some of my workstop stash.
Well, glad to hear it, mate.
We can help increase your stash by 1 if you win a Leman Russ.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got that to do, haven't we? So
yeah, we should do that in a moment. So we shall leave it there with the painting. Colin, how have you done today? How have you felt today? Has it been good? Have you enjoyed it? Have I nagged you too much? Have I been a bad teacher?
No, I've just suitably chillaxed, mate, to be honest with you. No, I've just been going with the flow because, like I said to you before, it's not only me you're teaching. You've got an audience out there that are watching.
Mm.
You know, when you said, I don't want you to think I'm patronising you, that's why I said, well, don't worry about it because it's not only me that's learning from this. Yeah. You might have someone watching this that's not even picked up a paintbrush, mate.
Yeah, when I'm saying how to use a paintbrush and how to apply normal, that's actually a lot darker than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it is dark, isn't it? It seems to have darkened it right down. I'm like, bloody hell, this is dark.
I don't remember it being that dark before. This could be interesting. Yeah. This could be very interesting. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's proper dark, isn't it?
That wasn't as dark. Yeah, I did a Tauros Prime and it didn't come out that dark when I put the normal oil on. Yeah. Oh dear. Let's see how that goes anyway. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but like I say, we've got 50 Shades of Grey there, mate. We can always lighten it up again.
That's true. I'm not getting my witch
Yeah,
out.
it's dark, isn't it?
Yeah, that's darker than I thought it would be. Woo!
Yeah, that's like pretty much going back to the original black colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the tracks are basically black primer.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I'm so glad it's not just mine that's done that. It's like, yeah,
maybe we'll have to start with Skaven Black Dinge next week. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, there might be.
Well, we can always dry brush a bit of dinge over it so that the Nuln oil picks out the low lights.
Well, that's the idea, but I'm thinking now because
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be quite that dark. So I'm thinking now if we go straight to the Mechanicus or the other one, it might be a massive contrast. But if we go with, but the thing is, it's going to be a good hour doing each layer of dry brushing, so it's not slow. It's not a fast process.
See how the underneath looks. Mind you, we haven't known oiled that, have we? And that's,
wait till your tops dry, and then
yeah, it's pretty much.
I'll do a test later, and I'll see which one. I'll do a test on the bottom later and see which one looks best. It'll probably be good.
You could find that we scrap week 1 and we start next week and go, right, our first layer's going to be.
Yeah, we've actually stripped them
dinge.
back. We've pre-primed them. I don't know why that's come out darker. Interesting.
Oh, don't worry about it. It is what it is.
Unless last time I did this, I actually used Mechanica Standard Grey and not Skaven Black Dinge. I don't know.
Now he's telling me.
I don't think so. Anyway, yes, that's going to do us for the painting today. So as long as you've enjoyed yourself, I hope you've learned at least 3 things about paint.
Absolutely, mate. It's been a laugh.
Yeah. If nothing else, if I've shown you how to get a nice smooth base coat, then that's the thing. It's
Exactly.
go slow, spread it out. That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds so wrong. I'm
Spread
glad
it
you
like
said
baby
that.
oil on it. No, moving on. Bottoms. So yes, but that's going to do us. But before we go, of course, we have to do the giveaway. So if you weren't here before, we are giving away a Games Workshop Leman Russ Punisher kit. It's the Demolisher kit, but you can build it as a Punisher instead. We're building the Punisher with the decent gun.
Yeah,
You can win yourself one of these.
Gatling gun.
Yeah, win one of these. Retail value 36 of your English pounds. That's 3 billion pence, probably. I don't do maths. And you can win one for yourself.
Yeah.
What we're going to do, we're going to get you to do something now, and then we'll pull a winner next week on next Sunday's show to let you know who's won. All you need to do is, when this stream is finished, if you watch the Monday show, you know how this works. When the stream is finished, put a comment on this video. We do it this way so that people who can't watch this live can still take part.
Yeah.
So, all you need to do is put a comment on this video, when it's a regular video, and we will pull a winner next week. Now, just do one comment. Multiple comments won't give you a multiple chance of winning because we'll remove duplicate comments. We won't count them. So just do one comment. But what can we have them saying? What can we have them saying? What will be amusing to read out?
Oh, there you go. I'm using. Oh, bloody hell, mate. Put me right on the spot there.
How about an amusing comment with the word bottoms in it? There you go.
Yeah,
But keep it
an amusing quote with the word bottom.
But keep it family friendly. That's the challenge. It's got to be a double entendre. Double entendre is more appropriate. So yeah, whatever the comment, just make sure it includes something about bottoms. Any kind of doesn't matter what kind of bottoms.
Seaside postcard humour.
Yeah. There you go. So wait till the stream's finished, give it 5 minutes. It'll be a regular video on the channel. Just put a comment on there about bottoms, and we will pull a winner next week. We'll pull a bottom and see which one wins. Best bottom wins, and then that person will win this kit. Now, as I said before, make sure to enter. The only requirement is that you are able to place orders with Games Workshop. If you normally can order from Games Workshop and they can ship it to you, you're fine. If they don't deliver stuff to your country, you're not fine. You can't take part.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to simply go onto the Games Workshop website with your name and address and place an order and have it sent to you. So you get all the benefits of delivery from Games Workshop. So there you go. It also doesn't cost me anything shipping. If I do it through Royal Mail and buy it myself, I've got to pay for it. Do it through Games Workshop, it's free. So
it's prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, this way I just go online and buy the kit for you and get it sent to you as a gift, so you don't see my credit card details. And there you go. So that's all you need to do. So comment about bottoms, family friendly but amusing, and do that when it's finished. And we will pull a winner next week. But until then, I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you very much today, Cole. You've been an awesome student.
It's all right, mate.
You've not been an annoying student at all.
Well, I did get you an apple.
That's true. And I did see you, though, like, firing bits of paper through a pen tube. A blowpipe with the paper balls.
Oh, yeah. I do. Mate, you want to see all the Post-it notes that are stuck to your back?
Arse. Arse. Yes. What, just loads of Post-it notes just saying bottoms?
Exactly, yeah. Crinkly bottoms. And
Crinkly
all
bottoms. Zibba-dibba-dibba. Yes, but thank you to everyone who's been watching. I hope you've all enjoyed it today. This will go on for weeks and weeks and weeks, so be prepared for many weeks of us painting now and not responding to chat because we're too busy painting.
Yeah, we are old.
Yeah, we are. But don't forget, of course, before we go, a big thank you to my sponsor, who sponsors my channel and all my content, who makes my channel possible, emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. Link in the description below the video. Go and check them out. Buy many things from them, many things. If you're feeling overburdened by money, they can help you with that. So go and check them out. And, of course, to my patrons and channel members who make all this content possible. If you'd like to support my channel and Colin's channel, you can support mine at patreon.com/modelmakingguru, or you can press join under any of my videos.
And you can support mine by going over to patreon.com/Festa67's workshop, or click the join button below any of my videos.
I know why my fan's been on full whack, because I didn't put it on...
You got a super chat there, mate.
Oh, Jacero Jim, another $1. Thank you very much, Jacero. You're very, very kind. That is very sweet of you. Thank you, thank you. Big thumbs up.
Membership to the channels does grant you access to the Zoom 24/7 off-air hangout, where you can come and spend the evenings shooting the breeze with myself and other model makers. So
it doesn't say with me, because I rarely go in there.
No, I've got more chance of turning up here with dreadlocks, mate.
Yeah, I always forget. Thank you, Jacero Jim. You're very kind. Yeah, I've not had Streamlabs on suspended mode ever.
That'll be why performance mode, yeah.
I wonder if that's why the stream fell over as well then. Maybe.
Could well be, couldn't it?
I don't know. Anyway, thank you everyone. Again, thank you to all for making this possible, that we've had 200 shows. This is show number 200. Here's to the next 12,000 shows. See if we can get to 400 before major surgery is required. We'll see how it goes.
Exactly. Without you folks coming in, we wouldn't be doing it, would we? At the end of the day.
Andy McLeish says, "Hang around. I noticed that both Foxx and Festa aren't sponsored by Goblin Gaming anymore. Goblin they ended their affiliate schemes because for various reasons. No, nothing wrong. They weren't able to keep going, so they suspended all their affiliates."
Yeah, I've got a new one now, Andy, which is Hobby Workshop, mate. That's my new affiliation link, mate. Details are in the Friday Frolic video and on the channel and on the website. Yeah,
we're still friends with them. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing bad. It's just they no longer do any affiliate links.
Yeah.
They were struggling to maintain it. It wasn't going well. They said it wasn't working the way they wanted it to work, and therefore they were going to kill it off until such time as they can do it properly. So I was more than happy with it. So but I think just being a bit busy.
They wanted to try and give more benefit to the affiliates and more time, but they just couldn't give us more time, could they? So
they were struggling.
Postponed it for the moment.
Yeah, and it wasn't just me and Col, it was obviously all their affiliates as well. You've got there's loads of other channels that were affiliates for Goblin. They're still awesome, so you should still go and check them out. Yes. Goblingaming.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all the stuff you don't get from your models. But yes, anyway, but thank you, all of you, for making it up to 200. Jacero says this is his first show. Thank you for coming along. I hope you'll come back for more.
Absolutely, mate.
Colin and I will both be back tomorrow for the eModels Monday show on the eModels YouTube channel. I will be back on Friday. Whether it'll be a video game stream or I'll still be painting my Age of Darkness Horus Heresy set, I don't know. We'll see. But if not, I'll be playing something on the Xbox. And then back on Saturday, of course, again, and Sunday. So do stay tuned. What have you got this week then, Cole?
Obviously, eModels tomorrow on eModels' YouTube. Yep. Wednesday, I'll be doing me Workbench Live on the eModels channel.
Yep.
Friday, over on my channel, YouTube, Festa67's Workshop, we'll be doing the Friday Frolic with me and Foxx again.
That's at midnight on Friday.
And then Sunday, it'll be me and Dave at the bench on my channel. And then next Sunday, the Warhammer Sunday, and Tuesday I'll be on Prime Time as a guest. So
Prime Time, ooh!
I'm
never invited on people's streams.
Oh, Lammerkins!
Nobody ever invites me anywhere.
We only do a stream on my channel with him as my co-host.
No, I mean apart from you.
I know. Yeah, we are the scourge, aren't we, mate?
Nobody ever invites me to their parties. I'm never picked for anybody's team.
Yeah, it's ever since you took that can of top shandy to a party, isn't it? It's like, you bought the shandy.
I even did an interview once with some channel I've never heard of. I did this big long interview and they never posted it. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
Git. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it for show number 200. Here's to the next 200. Clinking of the glass coal of the water container.
Yeah, clink.
Thank you to all my viewers for making it along to 200 shares. Thank you to you, Cole, for making it to 54 or thereabouts.
Absolutely my pleasure, mate. You know that.
I have to say, this has been a lot more enjoyable since you came on board, and it's been the two of us. It's been a lot more fun.
This is it. We had such a breeze on the frolic, didn't we? And it was a giggle, and it was difficult for you on the Sundays to go back to being on your lonesome, wasn't it? So,
because I mean, doing it by myself was fine and enjoyable and fun, but having somebody along as a character is much more fun because you don't have that dead air. It's really nice. So we kind of think the same. We're both idiots, so.
Oh, we're both 5.5, aren't we? Let's be honest, mate.
All the hugs.
All the hugs, everyone.
Yes. But anyway, I shall leave now because I need to go and do something to stop smelling all that delicious food from next door. I'm really hungry. Right, downside of having neighbours that make the nicest tasting smelling food in the world is like they're always making the nicest smelling food and I'm always hungry.
Yeah, what you do now is you knock on the door saying, I brought me plate round like you asked.
One of the problem is that when the food they do make is there's something he puts in the curries that is not to my taste. There's like
it's thermonuclear, is it?
No, it's not hot. There's like one herb he puts in there that gives me a kind of washing up liquid taste. In my mouth, and it's like it's really nice apart from that, and I'm like, it still smells delicious. And I don't know what they use, but it's like I haven't had the heart to tell him. He brings food round occasionally.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. Sometimes it's not always that way, but sometimes he puts stuff in there. It's like, I don't like that, whatever that ingredient was. Anyway, thank you very much, Colin.
It's all right, mate. My pleasure.
Thank you very much, lovely viewers, patrons, and channel members. And I shall say, until next time, don't forget, of course, go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You there. I can't even point correctly because it's up the one way. Go be awesome. And until next time...
Adios, amigos.
You were far too slow. God damn it.